Broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray Music app and listen wherever you go.
Have your sports curiosity cured.
Montgomery, he's going to break. David Montgomery is in for the touchdown.
A veteran of the sports reporting game for over 25 years.
This ball torch tie game. The Canton.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
We saw Nugent Hopkins to Lepidin. Lepidin to Nugent Hopkins. Over to Howard. A shot. Scores! High Coward. One-time shot from the right wing. And the Edmonton Oilers are up 2-1.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Saul. 507, Wednesday, September the 24th. Oilers with a big win in Winnipeg in preseason action. The Blue Jays lose to Boston, and now are just one game up on the New York Yankees in the American League East Division, but they do have a tiebreaker. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440 on your AM radio dial on your morning drive heading into work. You can also watch us on YouTube now. We've been going at it, for 3 weeks here or so. And as always, we're streaming on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, and on sports1440.ca. That YouTube channel, by the way, is Sports 1440 AM. Just give us a click and a like and subscribe. It's all free, and we'll get those numbers continuing to rise. They've been really, really good so far, and thanks for doing that to our loyal listeners. If you miss any part of any show, it turns into the many, many podcasts that are out there on Apple. It's on Spotify, Google, even Amazon. Just subscribe there as well. Select the auto download. You'll never miss a second of the show. Yeah, good morning, and thanks so much for coming in and joining us and letting us be with you on a Wednesday morning. Old hump day as we get ready for another preseason game tonight, I guess. The Oilers are on home ice tonight, back-to-backs. You can call it after winning in Winnipeg last night by a score of 3-2. So you always like it when your team goes on the road with what is, really a lesser lineup. We're going to see some of the bigger nuts tonight against Seattle at Rogers Place. But you heard on the intro, Cam Moon giving the call of Ike Howard scoring a power play goal. That was a pass from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, a really nice seam pass on the power play. And it was a similar goal that we've seen Leon Draisaitl score in the power play many, many, many times. Howard, though, was maybe back towards the boards a bit, maybe a little bit higher, but the one-timer was there. And that got, the Oilers going on a power play goal. Quinn Hudson scored a nice goal and poking it just past Eric Comrie. And then a really nice setup from Noah Philp to Ty Emberson, and that was the game-winning goal. Really nice pass by Philp, some sauce on it. Emberson picks the corner far side, and that was the game-winning goal, 3-2. The Jets ended up to score, like a later goal, so that ended up to be the winning goal. Emberson scored in the third period to make it 3-1. Kobe Barlow scored with just over a minute left to make it 3-2. Jets pulled the goalie, couldn't get anything going after that. So you always like when your team goes on the road and you have a lesser cast of characters, if you want to call it that. Maybe the best player on the ice? It's hard to say. If I had a vote, I probably would go with Noah Philp. He had a pretty good game with 2 assists, had 4 hits, played center, took a lot of face-offs, ended up, when it was all said and done, playing 17 minutes, so 2 assists plus 2, had 22 shifts. And again, 4 hits, took a lot of draws. On the back end, a lot of guys were talking about Arto Lepinen. He had a bit of a giveaway earlier in the game, settled in a little bit more from that. But when you look at the defensive lineup last night with Lepinen, Brown, Emberson, Stetcher, Deneen, and hey, congrats, Luke Prokop played last night. We had Luke on about a month ago or so. and hopefully he can find a spot in Baco after being in the Nashville organization for a few years. They were splitting the farm team in Milwaukee, so he maybe didn't have as much of a chance as he would have liked to there. But anyway, 3-2 Oilers win in Winnipeg last night. Seattle here tonight, and we'll see a few more of the bigger fish in the bowl, like Connor and Leon. Of course, everyone was going bananas when the coach announced that they'd be starting the season together. It was almost like, Knobloch said, yeah, these guys are going to play together for 82 games, 24 minutes a night. Holy smokes, everyone just takes it. You got to just relax a little bit, take a bit of a breather here. This came off the heels in the morning, I guess we were on the air about 10 o'clock when Vasily Podkolzin signed his contract extension that kicks in next year at 2.95. So lots of Oilers stuff to talk about as the morning progresses. Text line is always open, 833-401-1440. Give us a shout what you thought maybe the game last night or what you thought of the Toronto Blue Jays game last night. Boston beats the Jays 4-1. The Sox bullpen was very good last night after Lucas Giolito left after 4 2/3. Sox bullpen went 4 1/3, did not give up a hit. The Jays only had 3 hits all game. But everyone, I mean, when you think about how a call and, did they lose the game because of this call on George Springer? You can never say that. But how it changes the outcome of how you move forward. Loaded bases, and Springer hits one down the line, and the umpire is right there. How you can't see this, that it's fair. And I know the angle that we see on the replays from home plate is different than what the eyes are of that home plate umpire. But by the time it crosses the foul line past third base, it's 7, 8, 9 feet past third base. You have to be able to put 2 and 2 together here. And then for Springer to get punched out on a pitch that's 3 inches outside the following pitch, it's just unbelievable. And you never know how the game is going to unfold. Everyone quit on that play as soon as the umpire called it foul. One runs in for sure. It bounced weirdly off of the left field, bleacher kind of area where it juts out, where there's nothing down down the line in Toronto, because it wouldn't have got to the outfield anyway. Would have bounced around a little bit. But you would think with runners on the move, it's a 2 runs, call it a single. I'm sure the ball goes into second, probably. Hard to say, but it's 2 ribbies for sure. Changes the whole complexity of the game. Anyway, the Yankees beat Chicago on a wild pitch that tied the game in the bottom of the 9th. So now New York just 1 game back in the American League East, 5 games left. The Jays do have that tiebreaker. So the Yankees have to finish ahead of them to get the division. But the Jays' bats have gone silent. All of a sudden, gone deathly silent. Batting 160, 33 Ks in the last 6 games. Batting 160, just 2 home runs. They got to find something fast. Problem is they got Garrett Crochet, big tough lefty for Boston, going tonight. Alek Manoah was DFA'd because they brought up Anthony Santander, make room for him on the 40-man. So Manoah had to be DFA'd. You would think his time with the team is done, but you never know. We'll see what happens next year. The bigger story outside of Canada is the Cleveland Indians. What we saw last night. So they're kicking off the 3-game series with Detroit. They're down. Tarek Skubal is cruising in the 6th inning. They gave up 3 runs in the 6th, never got a ball out of the infield. On August the 25th, so less than a month away, Detroit was 12 and a half games up. Now tied. Entering play last night, they were a game up, and now they are tied. But clinched the season series, Cleveland has, because with that game last night, they have more wins. So now they're technically in first place. I think probably most people saw the Tarek Skubal pitch on David Fry, rode in on him and hit him right in the face. He was trying to bunt. He squared up. He was probably leaning over a little bit too much, but man, and Skubal got rattled. He was rattled. Threw a wild pitch. They called it a wild pitch. Could have been a pass ball right after that, but give up 3 runs. He wasn't the same after that. That's the big. It's almost like a major league feel in Cleveland, is it not? A major league feel from the movie, in late 80s, and Jake Taylor and Roger Dorn and Ricky Vaughn and Lou Brown. All these guys, maybe they've got, a little, a cardboard cutout of Rachel Phelps in the locker room, because these guys can do nothing wrong right now. Bullpens fire. Eric Sabrowski, local product, with 1 clean inning last night in the 7th to set it up for the bullpen. Right now, Cleveland is absolutely on fire. Detroit has gone in the tank. Hey, let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne on a Wednesday morning. Good morning, Duke. You watched the Jays. Did you watch a little ball last night? What were you up to?
I had a couple different screens going with the implications elsewhere around the American League. Was checking out some of that Cleveland-Detroit game, kind of bouncing between that and the Yankees-White Sox one, with the Jays, of course, on the primary screen, and then jumping over to some Oilers Plus action of the Oilers and Winnipeg Jets out in Manitoba. So, surprisingly busy sports night. It didn't kind of come off that way when you first looked down the schedule, but there was plenty to take in. And to me, the story of the night was that Skubal pitch that hit Fry in the face, because you talk about rattling Skubal. Like, it was just before that he'd kind of tried to be an NFL long snapper and get the ball to first base, airmails it over his one bagger's head, hits the guy in the face. The wild pitch, the unraveling came in pretty short order after that for the Tigers. It's a wild story. We had some of the numbers yesterday, like the percentages of what their chances of missing the playoffs were back in mid-August, and now here they are, caught by these Guardians. They're a team that is pretty gritty, nothing flashy, and when you look at what they did at the deadline, I mean, they sent their ace to the Blue Jays. Yes, he wasn't pitching at the time, but essentially was punting on the season. They knew his return was imminent. And
one of the best closers in baseball has been gone for 3 months.
Yep, you got to give them a lot of credit. A gritty team that's finding a way, and it's kind of funny. Come playoff time, teams that come in this hot, I don't know what the official numbers are, and teams that come in hot versus come in cold, but you have to think there's some of these other teams inside the American League playoff picture that look at the Guardians and say, I'm not sure I want to be going up against these guys right now.
I don't know either. I mean, their starting pitching is really good. Their bullpen's been very good. They're led by Jose Ramirez. And I mean, even guys like the Canadian Bo Naylor, he couldn't hit a lick. He's batting 150, 160, but how he's picking it up even. I went down to Elks practice yesterday. We'll have some interviews. Jake Julian talked about the punting. Ed Hervey, Cody Fajardo. Cody Fajardo had some great comments about the new rule changes, more so about the goalposts, but when you are backed up, not when you're on the 10-yard line trying to
avoid some safeties.
Talking about being backed up. That was pretty cool. Remember I was saying, Duke, about 3rd and long from the 35?
Yeah.
When I talked to Ed about it, Ed Hervey, I never even got it out of my mouth. He said, well, you're punting.
Yeah.
If it's 3rd and 5, if it's 3rd and 5, what are you doing? Like people are not catching this, that there's going to be way more punting than what people think about going for gambling and trying to get, a 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 4, because you just can't afford. It's a field position game too, as well. So, what I just love Duke sometimes. And I told you this before the show. Sometimes, like I saw this last night too, but then I showed you this morning.
Yeah.
The text line from the night before, because obviously we're not on the text line, and whatever. We're on it in the morning, and you're on it for Fantasy Frenzy and stuff. So a text came in yesterday at 5:40. And it's an unnamed texter. It goes, this is how it goes. Can't wait for contact curling. Reminds me of short track speed skating before it became an Olympic sport. Now Connor Alley responds and says, ha, can we get your name? And Connor types back. Then here's the response. Oh, sweetie, you don't want my name. I'm old enough to be your great grandma. And then she proceeds, I'm assuming, who knows? We don't know who it is. Proceeds to write about a 2-paragraph
breakdown, explanation, justification
of of contact curling.
Mhm.
She says, I see 4 sweepers fighting it out for sweeping dominance. I just don't see like a great grandma figure writing this. Like, there's no way.
I mean, the message is well thought out. It's well worded. Not any errors that I can see through it. It's clearly a lot of thought put into it. So you got to give credit where it's due.
I just, oh, sweetie.
Oh, sweetie.
I'm going to call Conman Sweetie when he gets in today. Jam-packed show for a Wednesday. Unfortunately, David Schlemko, feeling a little under the weather, will not be with us for Cougar Paint and Collision. We'll get by. We'll ham and egger without Schlemmer. But we've got Charlotte Carroll from The Athletic, covers the New York Giants. Obviously, the big news out of Giants land yesterday was Jackson Dart being named the starting quarterback for Week 4. Russell Wilson, now QB2. That's where we'll start things off with Charlotte. I did an interview on Monday with Alec Regula, so we'll run that one today. Mark Spector at 8 o'clock, as usual. Those Elks interviews that I did will run some at 8:20, a little bit later as well. Shane Fennessy, he's a Canadian filmmaker, and Shane is he's the producer, part of a wonderful new film. It's called Sings in the Ring. It premieres tomorrow at the Edmonton International Film Festival. Shane's going to join us at 8:40. John Goyens, Montreal Canadiens analyst in the 9 o'clock hour. And then Ryder Cup's coming up on Friday. Keith Stewart from Read the Line, our main man covering PGA, will be with us at 10:20. When we come back, Charlotte Carroll from The Athletic, covering the New York Giants. It's Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440, and we're streaming on YouTube and X.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
From the first face-off to the final whistle, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk. With live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows, we bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7, only on Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports station.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in stock, ready to deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Get this, Metal Supermarkets now offers welding services for their customers. Simple welds, steel, stainless, and aluminum welding. TIG, MIG, and stick are all available. And I tell you, these welding helmets are really something. Like the jousters wore in the days of yore. Quick, fetch my lance.
Lance is on lunch break.
That's not what... Never mind. Metal Supermarkets, your local convenience stores for... and welding. Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and you'd think that as a used RV expert, I'd be a real do-it-yourself guy. Oh, I know all the dirty and grungy stuff that has to be done to keep your quality used RV healthy, and I actually don't like doing it. That's why I hired a whole service team at No Bull. I get to talk about it on TikTok, and they get their hands dirty.
Gotta be some perks to being the boss, Rick.
That's right, Bob. It's only fair that I share it with everyone, which is why we created our Camp Ready Club. Here's how it works. For one low monthly cost of just $30, we'll do your spring opening, fall closing, and all your regular scheduled maintenance on your used RV.
Plus, club members get priority discounts and perks as well.
You know it, Bob. Camp Ready means you've got everything you need. But if you require service or repair during the peak summer season, Camp Ready members go to the front of the line to get you back to the great outdoors faster.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour are brought to you by Nectar.io. Learn more about how we can help your business automate processes, streamline operations, and save money at Nectar.io. Nectar.io, your business made better.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 7:20 in Edmonton, and staying alive. That's what the New York Giants would like to be trying to do moving forward here in the NFC East, and that's where we go to start things off on a Wednesday morning to the Big Apple as we welcome in Charlotte Carroll from The Athletic. Good morning, Charlotte. You're with Kevin Karius on Sports 1440. Thanks for jumping on the big program this morning. Really appreciate it.
No, happy to talk Giants, and then happy to join. Thanks for having me on.
So what was the reaction yesterday, Charlotte, with the announcement that Jackson Dart's going to be taking over at quarterback for Russell Wilson?
Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of felt like it was coming just after the game on Sunday. You know, Brian Dable goes into his post-game media availability. He doesn't give an answer right away, which isn't a surprise. He did that in week one, kind of didn't commit right away. He wants to watch the tape. But then on Monday, when he does his day after availability, he usually has more answers for us. You know, he's committed to the quarterback. He did that week one with Russell Wilson. He leaves the door very open, kind of setting up this idea of a quarterback change, very reminiscent to what he did going into the bye week after the Munich game when they made the change to bench Daniel Jones. So it kind of felt like it was coming, whether it was going to be Monday later in the afternoon or today. Or yesterday, we were ready for it.
So is Jackson Dart ready for this, Charlotte?
They think so, and that's the hope. They've been putting him through this development plan. He's kind of passed every checkpoint, and I think you could really tell that the coaching staff believed it when they made him QB2 over Jameis Winston ahead of the season. They wouldn't have done that if they didn't think he could go into a game at a moment's notice and be ready. And Brian Dable was asked on Monday if he believes or, you know, has passed all these checkpoints, ready to start, kind of along the lines of like, you know, we wouldn't put him in these last two games if we weren't confident in him.
Mm-hmm. What's the feeling just overall within the organization, within the fan base with this 0-3 start, especially after what happened in week two, where I think everyone thought that they had that one and could have won it easily in Dallas?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, you know, apathy, but Dart brings a lot of excitement. And we saw this kind of weird dynamic on Sunday where before even halftime, fans were chanting, "We want Dart, we want Dart," when Russell Wilson had thrown his second interception. And then this very, as I said, weird dynamic when Dart came in for those couple of snaps in the second half. You know, the crowd's really excited, they're cheering. But then when he goes out just after one or two, they're booing when Russell Wilson comes back in. So they're excited for the future. That whole weird dynamic with Russ and Dart kind of putting snaps just felt unsustainable.
Charlotte Carroll from The Athletic, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. Not just Dart, but we're going to see Cam Scatable, Charlotte, as you know, with Tyrone Tracy out for a couple of weeks here. What did you think of Scatable when he took over last week? Man, he was running really hard.
Yeah, I think he and then when you bring in Dart, they're going to bring the energy. The rookie, this pair, they look close too. They've got lockers near each other. They seem to be friends. But he brings another level of just like commitment and power, and he wants to finish that run no matter what, for better or worse. But he's fun to watch. And the crowd really gets excited when he's on the field and he's making a run.
Yeah. I mean, is it that injection of youth, maybe the future, that people are going, okay, if we can build with these guys, maybe we have something here down the road?
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting pieces. The question is, will this coaching staff be around to kind of see it through and then the front office, just based on what happens and how this goes? You know, they're really betting on Dart to kind of see this through, and you know, it's a lot of pressure for a rookie. And I think Darius Slayton was talking about it earlier this week before they even had officially changed. You know, it's going to take time. Like, you can't just have this immediate pressure. And the hope was that, you know, you could have Dart have this redshirt year, get experience, learn, and that's obviously been thrown out the window. So what is he going to be able to do right away? Who knows? Will he have immediate success? The schedule is not in their favor, especially with how this team has been playing, but it will look like a different offense, and it should be at least exciting to watch on Sunday and show up.
No kidding. What kind of runner would you describe? How would you describe Scatabo and his style and what we might see here moving forward?
Power, angry, get through no matter what. He looks like a train when he's on the field, just trying to barrel through.
Yeah, he does not want to be denied. How tough is it here? I know you don't want to look ahead too far, but New Orleans is next week. But the Chargers, they've been really playing well, and their defense is playing very well. To go in to play a team like the Chargers right off the hop here for a guy like Jackson Dart, this is going to be a major, major, major ask.
Yeah, no, that's when you look at the schedule, like throughout the summer, when we kind of realized just how quickly and how good Dart was developing. You look at the schedule element, and there's not a good place for him to land. Like New Orleans felt like the safest just from like a team perspective because of them not being as good. But then you're asking, if you put him in New Orleans, it's away, and then you come back and you take on the Eagles, and the Eagles are twice in 3 weeks. But in terms of the Chargers, yes, it's the home crowd, but it's also Jesse Ventura and this defense that is one of the top and best in the league. Going to make life very, very difficult for Dart. So, again, it's the NFL. All these teams are going to have their strengths, and you kind of just have to go with it. And if he's going to be good, if Dart's going to be good, he should be able to just have to kind of learn and get through this. But yeah, not an easy place to start off, but at least it'll be better.
Yeah, no kidding. Charlotte Carroll with us from The Athletic on Sports 1440. The good thing that Dart has, a guy like Malik Neighbors, one of the very best in the league, was last week against KC, just a one-off where, it seemed like Russell Wilson was trying to force it into him all the time and sometimes double, triple coverage. What did you think?
Yeah, no, he really found success with Malik in the Cowboys game. Was that a fluke? I don't know. Will Dart be able to have the same kind of success at some point? But the Chiefs really took advantage and really game planned around not getting Malik open. So I don't know, Dart's a different quarterback. We'll be able to be a little bit more mobile, what they'll be able to get to him. But I think Malik is still going to be a priority for defensive coordinators, and if they're able to scheme and keep him not open, what does that mean for Dart, and who's he going to turn to next?
Speaking of young players, and who got two guys that are starting on offense, and Dart and Scatterable, how would you assess how Abdul Carter has played so far in 3 games, Charlotte?
Yeah, no, he's moved around a bit. He hasn't been, as outright dominant as maybe fans were hoping for, but that doesn't mean he's been bad. He's had some really strong moments. But this defense, we talked about going into the season, just how dominant they could be, this front seven, and what that would look like. And they've had really, really strong moments, but the defense as a whole hasn't been able to back them up and make it, effective at times. But you like what you see early from him, see what that kind of looks like. And then having to move around a little bit too is maybe hurting him. I don't know. But he's had to do a lot of different stuff. So what's best for him, we'll see.
What about Darius Alexander? When you look at that, you got Carter, Dart, Alexander, and Scatterable, their top 4 picks, trying to make an immediate impact here in week 4 of their draft year.
Yeah, Darius Alexander getting a little bit more time with Rakeem Nunez-Roches out for a little bit with an injury last week. He didn't play, so he's gotten a little bit more experience. So we'll see what that looks like and what he's able to do too going forward. But yeah, a lot of, at least they're all getting playing time. This major group of draft picks.
Yeah, no kidding. Charlotte Carroll with us on the Kevin Carey Show on Sports 1440. We always check in with the Canadians. So many great Canadians that are playing in the NFL, as you know, Charlotte. One of them with the Giants, and Javon Holland, who came over from Miami. What have you seen from Holland in the defensive backfield so far in his early time here with the Giants?
Yeah, I need to do a little bit more film just on the backfield specifically. The players haven't been there, but he's his leadership has really been kind of praised when they brought him in. It is what he could bring to that room with a really young secondary that the Giants had. So he's been nice, very nice to talk to in the locker room.
Well, he's a Canadian. He's a Canadian, Charlotte. Yeah. We're so polite. That's what happens. And sorry to interrupt you there.
No, oh my God. There we go. I don't think we're not getting that apology from most Americans.
Charlotte Carroll with us from The Athletic, covers the New York Giants. Maybe just look back to that Dallas game and how you see the standings right now. Obviously, the Eagles are the class of the division. Giants and Cowboys, that would have been massive to have a win in Dallas. But how do you see things shaking down in the NFC East here moving forward?
I mean, it's the Eagles to lose, and then Commanders, I think, probably second. Dallas, if they figure it out, I don't know. Maybe third. But the Giants had opportunities. That's, I think, the hardest part is that these games there's been opportunities to win. Obviously, Dallas was the main one, but it's not like this Chiefs game in the first half was that far away. There were just so many ways that they managed to kind of kick themselves in the foot and just not be able to get things done on the offensive side. The kicking game, quite literally, there's just elements to this. But yeah, until we see anything else from the Giants, them and the Cowboys at the bottom.
And maybe one last one for you, because I know you got to get going here, Charlotte. But how hot's the seat that Brian Daboll sits on right now?
Yeah, I mean, and this is not coming from like anything reported or internal. I mean, just publicly, pressure-wise, feels like it's very hot, and a lot is riding on Dart. And again, that's not necessarily fair for a rookie to have that kind of pressure, and it is what it is. But Daboll is really, hoping for the best and hoping he can get the best out of Dart. That's how it seems, that this is kind of a relationship that's going to, it's either going to have success or they're going to find some wins, or it's just going to kind of be a struggle. We'll see how many wins ownership can kind of go with, or what progress it would look like. But definitely something to monitor going forward.
And what are Giants fans thinking about what Daniel Jones is doing in Indianapolis?
I mean, I don't happy he's having success. I hope some of them I've seen from comments. You love to see that, but also not.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Charlotte, thanks so much for your time. And again, I apologize for interrupting you there.
Hey, it's lovely to hop on as always, and no apologies.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Take care. We'll talk soon. That's Charlotte Carroll from The Athletic. She had another interview to do at 7:35, so we had to kind of duck out a bit sooner. But man, oh man, when you think about where Brian Daboll's at, I mean, I just hope that Jackson Dart he's gonna have a tough time this week. He's gonna have a tough time against the Chargers. There's a little bit of a reprieve next week when they go to New Orleans. But after that, it's home to the Eagles. It's in Denver, one of the best defenses, and Philly's no slouch either. Then it's in Philadelphia. So you got a home game with Philly, a road game in Denver, and then a road game in Philly. And then you got to take on San Fran even after that. Like, those are 4 tough defenses, even with Bosa out now in San Fran. Those are 4 tough defenses that he's going to have to face. Never mind the Chargers to start things off. And we saw how much pressure that the Chargers have been bringing. It's almost like, oh boy, can we just get to New Orleans next week? Can we just get to New Orleans next week? Text 833-401-1440. King of Fort Nasty says, we were talking about Cody Fajardo, discussing how if he's in the shadow of his own goalposts, how it's going to be different with no uprights at the goal line. Good morning, KK and Duke writes in the King of Fort Nasty. Fajardo's backed up. Couple of the Duke's green diesels will loosen him up. Cheers. KOF. Duke, you're still not on the Pilsner train, are you?
Of course I am. It's the best.
Man.
That's what I got locked and loaded. So I might have to post this on socials next Tropics game. This past spring, we were doing a pretty substantial little yard cleanup at the farm, and, cleaning out some old sheds and just piled up junk that had made its way into the backside of the shop and behind the house and things. And I found this little cooler. It's like the perfect kind of, one man cooler. It fits a 6-pack or so in there. And it's gotta be 90s. It's a Coleman, and it's just it's blue and just the big Cummins logo, like Cummins diesel engine logo on the side. And I'm a Ford man through and through my whole life. But listen, the cooler is simply too cool. It's too good not to use. So I've got that thing locked and loaded with Pilsner every Sunday night, headed to the Drake, or this past
How
Sunday.
many does it fit?
I think you could probably fit maybe 8 in there total, but 6 is comfortable with enough ice that I won't buy, but just make it home to make sure everything stays chilled through, especially when you're at the Drake, because I swear to God, it could be the middle of summer, 35 degrees outside, and you head into the Drake dressing room, and that giant overhead unit that's in the corner of the room is still blasting out as hot of air as you've ever felt in your whole life.
we used to play at the Drake all the time at Claire Drake Arena. And again, no matter what, it could have been any time of the year. You're right. You go in there, and first thing you got to do is you got to take your gear off. Like, you got to take your coat off.
It's so bad.
It is just smoking hot.
And I kind of feel not bad because I'm not the one making these sole decisions. Like, the Drake is the Tropics kind of home rink, right? If you register early enough, you get a preferred ice slot with a preferred rink. And it's as central gets in the city. So we have guys that live all over. And I think about it. I'm like, there really isn't any positives to playing at the Drake. The dressing rooms are not particularly nice. It's an old barn. That's fine. You have to pay to park there, which you do not do at any other rink around the city.
Where do you park in that lot?
I usually park in the some guys go in the parkade right beside the Drake, or I park in the varsity lot kind of further over towards the Butterdome.
Yeah.
Just because I much like Laddie Schmid, I'm not a big fan of taking my truck in and out of parkades. It just kind of makes me a little nervous, even if I know the clearance is there. The ice, just because of how warm it is in there all the time, is not usually in the best of shape. The sharp corners, all these things. So there's no, to be honest, there's no positive playing at the Drake, except for the fact that everybody on our team went to school there. We all attended countless Golden Bears and Pandas games there.
Yeah.
We just love it. It's like a nostalgia feel to play at the Drake. It's one of the worst beer league barns in the city.
Now, the other thing too, but you guys can have a beer after.
Yep.
A lot of the, city run rinks, you're not allowed to.
You're not supposed to. The key there is, and I think most of the city rinks are okay with this, you just have to take your cans with you. Like, don't put your empty beer cans into the recycling bin. But otherwise, I mean, I bring a couple beers to every game, no matter where it is.
Now, this cooler, is it does it work as well as a brand new Yeti?
I doubt it. But hey, I broke it out this past Sunday because I was obviously at the farm over the weekend and picked it up. It needed a little TLC, and I'd forgot to grab it the last couple of times I was home in the late summer. Did its job really well. I was impressed with it, and it's pretty cool. And then I'll finish it on this, Kev.
Yeah.
One guy on our team, he's recently had their first child, him and his wife, and he's kind of been doing a lot of the stay-at-home dad stuff. His wife's a doctor, so she went back to work a little sooner. He is a 3D printer.
Ooh.
He's now been working. He 3D printed off a little mini cooler, holds 4 beers, which is good for beer league, right? But it's fabricated like in a Tropics theme, like Tropics colors, the logo on the side, all this stuff. And it's just this little, it's like a little lunch pail almost that you carry, just tiny thing, room for an ice pack in the middle of it, between the 4 cans. He brought it to a game a week or two ago. We kind of all reviewed it, said, I would change this. And now he's going to hit into the lab, see if he can come up with a generation 2. And then the whole team might have one maybe.
Well, why wouldn't you have the Tropicana Orangeman logo on the side?
Yeah, it's pretty slick. It's pretty slick.
Now, when you guys bring beer, and I don't want to talk about this too long because we got to get to break, but does everyone bring, how does it work?
Because not everybody stays, right?
Yeah.
So some at this point, I think I'm one of 2 or 3 guys on the team that don't have kids.
Yeah.
I'm one of 2
and
guys.
You're last to leave.
I'm one of pretty absolutely, no matter what I am. So on Sunday night, the team captain, Noel, he brought a case. It was a late game. We were short body, so he wanted to reward the guys that showed up. So he brought a case for everyone, and nothing crazy. It's like a 15-pack. There was 9 of us there, so that was fine.
PBRs or what?
Yeah, he brought PBR.
I see. That's my kind of guy.
But most games, it's kind of just like, bring what you want. I'll usually bring a couple extras, and then if anybody else wants one that maybe doesn't normally stick around, I have one to offer them. Okay. But we don't have a team cooler or anything like that. There's no rotation on whose turn it is to bring beer. Because to be very frank, it's usually the same 4, maybe 5 guys that stick around post game for 1 or 2.
Right. Okay. Just kind of, just wondering.
Just want to get a feel for the team. Don't worry, Kev. Once you get the invite, you'll get a full vision of how it works post game.
I'll bring 6 bow. Yeah,
and drink them all yourself.
Your buddy Noel says the positive is the time slot. Also, Crotch says, Duke, what about the dump into the corners that pop right out to the slot? Yeah. Used to be way worse.
They actually have rounded the corners a little bit. They used to be much sharper, but they're still playing goalie at the Drake is worse because on those rims, you never really know what's happening.
When we come back, we'll have a little one-on-one that I did with Alec Regula. And here's a guy that hasn't played for an entire year. And I saw him on Monday, and I'll tell you what, I was very impressed with his foot speed, angles, quick explosiveness. Yes, it's just a practice, and I know he's just played the one preseason game so far in the split squad. I would expect to see him in the lineup tonight. I'm not 100% sure if he will be, but I would expect that. When we come back, that one-on-one with Alec Regula, it's Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440, and we're streaming on YouTube and X.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit greatcanadiansolar.com and call today to get started.
I'm a little hungry.
I've got booster balls from Booster Juice.
Booster what now?
Booster balls. They're little protein bites packed with nutrients. Chewy, crunchy, yummy, and new flavors all the time. Like this little guy, the new mint chocolate booster ball, peppermint cocoa, coconut, peanut butter, maple syrup, all rolled up into a delightful little bite-sized snack.
Why am I just hearing about this now?
I don't know.
Can I have one?
No.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Blue Jays fans, this weekend and every weekend, you can catch Toronto Blue Jays ball games right here on Sports 1440. Ben Schulman provides the play-by-play. You provide the chips and beer. Check out the Blue Jays this weekend on Edmonton's home for sports. Sports 1440.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
God said, I need somebody to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, go to town, and stay all night at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We are so thankful God made a farmer. For the month of September, it is our goal to feed 500 families. With every vehicle sold, we will feed a family of 4. So please help us reach our goal. Visit us online at northgategm.com.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
At jackpotcity.net, you can do amazing things with just one casino chip. Discover a world of incredible casino games with over 500 high-quality online slot games, including the world-renowned progressive jackpot slot Mega Moolah. Play for free at jackpotcity.net and get treated as a VIP 24/7. So visit jackpotcity.net today on your tablet, laptop, or mobile. Jackpot City, a whole world of casino games. 18 plus. Please play responsibly. This is not a gambling website.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 744 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne with you on Sports 1440. Josh Fenwick, Sam the Record Man, running the show on YouTube and X and everywhere else you can find us. Thanks so much for coming along on a Wednesday morning and spending some time with us. Really appreciate it. Oilers in action tonight at Rogers Place, 7 o'clock puck drop with Seattle. Kraken in town. Oilers won last night, beating Winnipeg 3-2. Mike Howard, Quinn Hudson, Ty Emberson, the goal scorers. Noah Philp had 2 assists and looked pretty darn good out there. Noah Philp did. Alec Regula would expect that he plays tonight. I don't see too many guys that would ever do a back-to-back this early, but you never know. Who knows? We'll see some of the higher profile guys like McDavid and Draisaitl and things like that coming up soon, and we'll see what happens tonight as well. Regula is an interesting cat. First time I met him on Monday. He extremely well-spoken, and this is a guy that the Oilers think that there is something there, or else they wouldn't have signed him to a 2-year contract. Picked him up off waivers in December of 2024, so didn't play all of last year. He had a knee injury, and it occurred in last year during the summer. Now, when you go to an interview, and I knew that that he had a knee injury, it's tough to ask questions like that because they never really want to talk about injuries, and more even like with what happened to Regula, it's diagnosis, it's everything else like that. So like this was initially basically not nothing structural, more of an inflammation, and they could not get swelling under control, and he ended up missing the whole season. So he had a procedure later, and hopefully he's on the way to where he can be contributing to this organization. And as Speck said yesterday, here's a good opportunity for this guy to play a lot down in Bakersfield and show what he's got and see if he is a fit. Is he a call-up? But from what I saw, just him skating, I was really impressed with bursts of speed, explosiveness, cuts, overall movement on the ice. And as he said, he's still got a long ways to go. He's played in the NHL already. He was a draft pick of Detroit in the 3rd round of 2018. The thing that I like about his, he's an American, but he went to play in London under Dale Hunter. And his final season in London, they had a pretty darn good team. Even, his numbers in London are off the charts for a defenseman. 56 games played. He had 60 points and 27 goals. Connor McMichael, now with the Washington Capitals, really good young player, was an 18-year-old on that team. So there's something there offensively, but he's a big body as well. He's 6'4". He's 215 pounds. So he's got that element on the right side that the Oilers don't have. Played 22 games so far in the NHL, 1 goal, 1 assist, 16 PIMs, all with the Chicago Blackhawks. Was part of the trade with Taylor Hall that sent Taylor Hall to Chicago. Ian Mitchell, local product, ended up going from Chicago to the Boston Bruins. Anyway, on Monday, following the second session, I had a little conversation with Alec Regula. Alec, how have you found camp so far? What's it been like here just in the early going?
Yeah, it's been hard and high paced, a lot of competition. But it's been fun. I'm just really enjoying myself and having a lot of fun, a lot of smiling and laughing with the guys. It's been fun to be back, so I'm just enjoying it.
Compared to other camps where you were in years past, or whether it be Boston, Chicago, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different. When I was in Chicago, you missed the playoffs those years, and if you look around the league at some of the clips you see around from camp, it's they skating pretty hard, working pretty hard, really try to set the tone early and push the pace and kind of grind them down, make sure they're going to be a hardworking team. But here, back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, you play over 100 games a year. It's a little bit different in that way, not as much skating, battling, just more execution, high pace, and just kind of getting the reps down and kind of getting the groove with everybody and feeling good rolling into the season.
How's it been for you, missing significant time to get back to where you want to be, or where are you at right now? Or what would you say?
Yeah, it's been a huge challenge, definitely the biggest challenge of my career. I missed a lot of time last year, the whole season. So it's been very hard. I'm super grateful to be where I'm at today, put in a lot of work with the staff here. And, yesterday was the first game, I think, in 14, 15 months. So there's a lot of rust and, it's not perfect, but I'm feel super fortunate to be able to be playing and skating today after a game last night. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I'm just super grateful that I'm able to be playing again.
What was it like just to even get in a game? As you said, been a long, long time just to get the feel of things.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of rust there. I think, I try not to think about it too much, just go out and play. And I think after a shift or two, I was like, holy crap, it's a tough league. So it was hard, and it was hard last night. There's definitely some cobwebs and stuff I want to clean up. I think I can get a lot better, but what a blast to play at Rogers. Watching all those games last year, it's a really special place to play. So, I was just trying to enjoy it and give myself some grace and just have some fun.
What was the hardest part about watching for a whole year, not being able to get out there and do what you love doing? What was the hardest part?
I think the hardest part was just there's just so much camaraderie about like being with the guys, being a part of a team. I think everybody just looks out for each other, and some of my closest relationships I've built in my life have come from teammates, and you find a lot of friends that way, and hang out off the ice, go to events, kind of things. You spend so much time together. It's a lot of fun, and I think just I really miss that. I was kind of on my own, like different schedule, staying out of the way, especially with these guys, trying to win the Stanley Cup. I didn't want to be a distraction or anything, so I just kind of minded my P's and Q's and just plugged away at the rehab, and it was challenging. I'd be lying to you if I said there wasn't any dark days last year, so it was hard. But like I said, I'm just really having fun and trying not to take it too seriously right now, and just being grateful that I'm back. Because when you get that taken away from you, it's easy to take for granted. So I just feel very grateful.
What helped you get through it to where now you are where you are?
I think just having a good support system, like kind of common things you think, my family, my girlfriend, brother, close friends, and even though I was kind of staying out of these guys' way, they were great too. I went to a lot of dinners, guys had me over. They all, I think, felt bad for me, so kind of invited me places and tried to make me feel like I was part of something. So just family, and these guys were taking good care of me. So
describe your type of play. What can you help offer to the success of this club?
Yeah, I think I gotta I still have a lot of work to do. I think I got to get reps. I got to get playing. But in an ideal world, when I'm playing at my best, I think I can do a bit of everything. I think I have good offensive instincts, and I defend well too. So I think the biggest thing is just poise with the puck and breaking out the puck. I would say my best attribute is probably breakouts. Getting out of the zone. So. Like I said, a lot of work to do before I feel like I'm at that level, but I'm confident I can get there. So
when you mention those reps, maybe just speak to the importance of getting as many as you can here within this period of time.
Yeah, I think, it's tricky too, because you want to get as many reps as you can, but it's also, I'm not out of the woods yet with the injury. You kind of have to manage it. It's still, there's some days that are better than others. So that's just kind of a work in progress. For example, like tomorrow, Winnipeg and Seattle the next night. Like I don't imagine I'd play both of those, where I wish I could, but it's kind of a work in progress that way. But yeah, you want to get as much as my body will allow. I want to get as many reps as possible. And then even into the season, wherever it's at, like I think you just gotta, stay with it, stay positive, and just it's just work. And I think it's going to come. So I'm just trying to not beat myself up about mistakes or not feel my best. Just keep plugging away.
And how do you set expectations, goals for yourself after coming back from a long layoff?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard. Like you don't want to go into the season with no expectations and say, I had the whole year off, like whatever happens. But at the same time, you can't, expect to be a world beater out there. So you just got to kind of find that middle ground. And I think, playing yesterday, I went in with an open mind. I think I'm just going to try to get these couple games in and see where I'm at. I don't know where I'm at either. Like I think practice is a whole different thing. So I think the more games I play, that it'll kind of give me a realistic idea of where I'm at, how far I have to go to where I want to be. So I think the only way I'll know or be able to set the bar for myself is just get into 5-10 games and see where I'm at.
Alec, thanks for this. Best of luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
That's a conversation I had with Alec Regula on Monday after the second session. Yeah, after coming out of London, he went and played in the American Hockey League with Rockford in 2021, and then had a little bit of time with the Chicago Blackhawks and back with Rockford, up and down between Rockford and Chicago. and then ended up going to Boston in that trade, as I mentioned, with Ian Mitchell for Taylor Hall and Nicky Foligno. And that was, a trade where maybe it was going to be a fresh start for him. Played in Providence all of 23-24, played 55 games, had 26 points, 41 PIMs. So there's something there. And I think obviously Stan Bowman feels that way too, or else he wouldn't have signed him to a 2-year contract. So we'll see what shakes down with Alec Regula, but I think a lot of eyeballs will be on him if he gets into the lineup tonight. We'll see what happens. When we come back, top of the hour, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet will be with us. We'll also have a few one-on-ones that I did yesterday at Elks practice following their workout at Commonwealth Stadium as they get ready for the Saskatchewan Roughriders Saturday night. And it's funny when you talk about, I was doing the interviews and they were like, it was all about the rules. Well, yeah, but we got Saskatchewan. I go, yeah, I know you got Saskatchewan, but everyone wants to talk about the rules, so we'll get to that in a second. But also John Goins from the Montreal Canadiens, the analyst at 9:20. Keith Stewart in the 10 o'clock hour from Read the Line. Unfortunately, the old Schlem Dog millionaire, David Schlemko, feeling a little under the weather today, won't be able to make it in for Cougar Paint and Collision. When we come back, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Nectar.io, transforming field data into boardroom insights. Nectar.io is the all-in-one solution for your fleet, safety, time tracking, and materials management needs. Nectar.io, your business made better. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers victorious last night in Winnipeg. Preseason action 3-2 the final from the Peg. Noah Philp with 2 points. Quinn Hudson, Ike Howard, and Ty Emberson scoring the Oilers goals. Elsewhere around the NHL's exhibition schedule, Senators race a 2-0 deficit to beat the Maple Leafs 3-2 in overtime. Habs double up on the Flyers 4-2. Red Wings getting past the Blackhawks 3-2, and the Flames, they top the Kraken 4-1. Blue Jays bats continue to be icy cold. They lose to the Red Sox 4-1 in the series lid lifter. Jays now just 1 game up on the New York Yankees in the American League East. And the team also announcing that they have DFA'd former Cy Young finalist Alek Manoah to make room for Anthony Santander to be added back to the roster, which he was for last night's game. Elsewhere around the majors, Guardians beat the Tigers 5-2 to pull into a tie atop the AL Central. Mets beat the Cubbies 9-7. Yankees get past the White Sox 3-2, and as earlier mentioned, now it's 1 game back of the Jays in the AL East. WNBA playoffs, Mercury took overtime, but they get past the Lynx 89-83, and league MVP A'ja Wilson with 25 points as the Aces top the Fever 90-68. That series, both series, matter of fact, now tied at 1 game apiece. Coming up in hour 2 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector, as well as Edmonton filmmaker Shane Fennessy. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Find incredible savings on everything you need for your home at The Brick. Save up to $800 on sofas and up to $1,000 off select major appliances when you buy 2 or more. Whether you're furnishing a new space or refreshing your current one, The Brick has designs to fit any style and budget, all backed by their exceptional service. Visit one of their 4 locations in Edmonton, downtown, South Common, West Edmonton Mall, or 137th on the north side. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 801 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne with you on Sports 1440. Josh Fenwick, Sam the Record Man. We're streaming on YouTube and X, and it's time now for On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. In September, Northgate is helping feed families. For every truck sold, they will feed a family of 4. Farmers and small business owners also get preferred rates in September. Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This truck's for you as we welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning, Spec.
What's going on, Kev? How are you doing, man?
Yeah, first hour just flew by, as you can imagine.
Well, when you love your work, right?
Things
When you love
fly
your work. I'm the same as you, buddy. I'm just trying to get the finish line without ever working a day in my life. So,
yeah, but you used to work at Bonton, so that's work.
I worked at Bonton. Oh yeah, I had college pro painters. That was work.
Was that
And
the
not
toughest
much
job?
money either?
Was that the toughest job, the college pro painters that you did?
I don't know. That's hard to say. It was
Well,
hard.
what
Yeah,
else? What are the other options?
Anyone who's painted, like when you're painting exteriors, that's hard work. You can't, work off the extension ladder. It ain't easy. A little bit of, I don't know.
How high did you go up on a ladder?
Yeah, I learned to hate extension ladders.
Yeah.
Working as a painter, I must admit. Fell off of one once, ladder went down. I landed in this giant Caragana.
Okay, now things are making sense. Well, how far was the fall? Like, what are we talking? 6,
I
8?
don't know, 18 feet maybe.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I was working on this, like right under the eave of a 2-story, and down the ladder went, and down Spec went, and out went the paint. And I said, I painted your Caragana with no extra charge.
So like that was a big deal, and I think it still is, that college pro painters. Was it your own? Like, did you have your own, or did you work for another guy, or what?
I worked for another guy for a couple summers. It was a good gig, made some money, had some laughs. That's the stuff you do when you're 17 or 18 or whatever. But then I got a job working for the city, fixing up ball diamonds. That was a good job.
So painting would be the hardest. Like ball diamonds, you're not doing anything there.
Nah, not really. That was
Painted lines. You've got the line, one of those big lime drums out, probably.
No, we were rehabbing them. So you're going to an old ball diamond in some neighborhood that hasn't been used or tended to for years, and you bring out the rototiller and you chop up the bases and put in a new home plate, put a new pitcher's mount or whatever, pitcher's rubber. So I did that for a summer. That was fun. Then we sprayed chemicals too. They put me on the spray crew for dandelions.
Now things are really making sense for me. Falling off the ladder and inhaling all those chemicals.
Yeah. We would do a park, Kev.
Yeah.
I would sit in the back of a pickup truck with a big tank full of Kill-X. And they'd drive the whole park, and I'd spray it. We had masks and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd spray that whole park. We'd drive away without leaving a sign or anything. And 3 minutes later,
kids would be out there.
Some lady'd be walking in with her little poodle, and he'd be walking around licking the grass. And like, we didn't leave any reminder behind that we just sprayed this harmful chemical. It was ridiculous.
Oh, that's Mark Spector with us from Rogers Sportsnet. Oilers 3-2 last night in Winnipeg. Noah Philp was really good, I thought. A couple of assists and really nice pass on that third goal to Ty Emerson. What did you see last night, Spec?
Yeah, I saw the right guys were good, First of all, the lineups were pretty even. Like when you looked at guys that are going to play in the NHL this year, it was pretty even lineups. I thought one of the best players on the ice who never had a point was Savoy.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good. He just, he was just in the right place. He won his battles. He created stuff. Nothing went in, but I thought he was fantastic. Howard had jump. I liked Howard, and I really thought on that power play, it was my first glimpse of a guy who, he expected to score. Like he called for a one-timer, broke his stick, went to the bench, got another stick, and he wanted the puck back again. And he stood where Draisaitl stands. Nugent Hopkins made that pass that he's made to Draisaitl 1,000 times, and Howard absolutely buried a one-timer. So second power play unit guy right there. I mean, he's not taking that job from Leon, but I like that. I like that little Lepinen. He's not a bad-looking defenseman. Like he's got a little Reijo Ruotsalainen in him. Maybe he's running a power play. He moves the puck well. He skates really well. So they got some guys. They did some things. Noah Philp, you're right, Kev. I'll tell you, as a right shot centerman, they don't have many. To me, he's got an inside track at fourth line center here if he keeps pulling out games like that one.
Yeah, and again, you look at the other side and the other lineup. Just quick question with Winnipeg. What did you see from Jonathan Taves last night, Spec?
Very little. Very little. I watched him every time he was on the ice. He was just, he hadn't played in a long time. That's all. He's just a guy putting his toe in the water. I mean, it's the first preseason game for him. I'm not here to judge whether his comeback's going to work or not. Too early for that. But he certainly didn't come out of the chute with a bang, but that's okay. He'll get more games in, and let's judge him at the end of preseason, not at the start.
Yeah, it's going to take, and I think we're judging him into the regular season, Spec.
That could be true.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the way it is. We're going to see some bigger star players tonight, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. Chris Knobloch said yesterday at practice that he's starting the season with McDavid and Draisaitl together. That's going to be, and right now it's Trent Frederick on the right side.
Yeah.
So, that's like we've had this debate ad nauseum in this city, whether they're a better team with them apart or they're a better team with them together. He had some comments yesterday about how there's going to be more ice time for everybody else somehow if McDavid and Draisaitl are together, not apart. I mean, I'm not here to call Chris Knobloch a liar or say he's misleading us. That's not what I'm saying. But history has told us that maybe when they're winning, there'll be lots of ice time to go around. But the minute they get behind, the third period starts, you're down 4-2. If you got those guys, generally they put them on a line together in that situation, right? Even if they didn't start the game together, and that line double shifts the rest of the period, and there frankly isn't any ice time for the third or fourth line, barely. But maybe it'll be different this time. What do you think about that?
Okay, well, the first thing that I thought, and he said he said, yes, we're going to start the season like that, but things can change. He also said, did he not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
And I think that's how I think it's such a fluid situation with the Lions with Chris, in the sense that, I think everyone got their snot in a knot here with what happened with what he said and thinking, well, they're playing all the time together. It could change in game one. It could change in game two. So I think everything's such how he operates his lines. He moves them around a lot. So I wouldn't take too much stock in the fact. And then, as I've been saying about with Zach Hyman too, Spec, for a while. I mean, this is a tough situation with him being out. So with him being out, that leaves a little bit of a hole here in that top six.
Well, then that's fine. So play them together. You got as good a line as there is in the world when those two guys are on it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's ask somebody to step up here. Let's find a second line among the rest of this roster that is productive and that drives play, right? The rest of the team can't just sit around waiting for the goals to come in when 97's line's on and then just try to hold fort for the next three shifts until they're back on the ice. Like, challenge the rest of your team.
Yeah.
It sounds like Nugent Hopkins is your second line center. Okay, well, put a line around this guy and let's challenge that line to get something done here. That they should be productive as well. There's enough good players on this team, right?
Mm-hmm. And a lot is power play, with minutes and Connor and Leon. That goes without saying. And now you would expect, on the PK, right? Like Connor saw some time last year. Does he see less time this year? Do they go to Connor and Leon and Frederick right after, a penalty kill? There's so many options here for the coach for sure.
What does the other team do? Like, do you just, I know that they say it's harder to coach against the Oilers when you got McDavid on one shift and Draisaitl coming over the boards next time.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets your best defenders? But the other side of the coin is that first pair on the other team is playing against the McDavid line every single shift. So's probably their top line or their best defensive line, but it does leave it open for the next three Oilers lines. They're not going to see the top pairing. Nugent Hopkins not going to see any top pairing defensemen very often.
Yeah, they gotta get something done with the other three lines, as you mentioned. Did you watch any of the Jays game? Did you have that going on before? Did you see Springer? Did you see the Springer thing or not?
I did not know what happened.
I mean, early on, they had loaded bases. He hits one down the third baseline, and it's a fair ball, and they called it foul. So it would have scored probably 2 runs. Changes the outcome of the game. Very next pitch, it's 3 inches outside, and they punch him out. And Springer, I thought he was going to lose his marbles. Oh man, you got to see the highlight of it, Spec. He just lost his, and for good reason. He's even running down the first baseline on that hit, and he's going okay. And then they called it foul. He couldn't believe that. So I'm not saying they would have won the game, but it had a big impact on how the game goes from there because that gives them the lead early.
Hey, listen, like I haven't seen it, but I'm here. I'll trust your judgment. And the umpires made mistakes. The umps make mistakes, and I don't, if Springer makes an error in the second inning, some players make errors, right? Players screw up. Pitchers come out and walk guys. Everybody on the field makes errors. When an umpire makes an error, we all freak out and we got to change the entire sport and bring in robots, right? What are we going to do next time Springer drops a ball? We're bringing in a robot to play, outfield for him? Is that what we're doing here? Like, guys make errors, and sometimes they're wearing black. That's all.
Well, I mean, we're going to have that now. So that would have been a challenge yesterday for ABS. So see what happens.
Yeah,
the big story in baseball, though, is Cleveland right now. How the Cleveland Guardians have come on here in the last month. Spick, they were 12.5 out. Now they're tied. Well, technically in first place over Detroit. Did you see any highlights from that game?
I saw Zabrowski pitched a perfect inning again. Eric Zabrowski is just on fire, man. He just comes out, he struck out 2.
Yep.
He gives you a perfect inning and he goes and sits down. Gives you a perfect inning, goes and sits down. Like, oh boy, this kid's going to have a long major league career as a reliever. He's
a lefty.
And a lefty. Oh boy, there's a really nice. I mean, I wonder if his role will change over time. Right now, he's a middle reliever. I wonder if that ever changes, or maybe that's just enough. I don't know. It's certainly enough to make millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think, right now, the way Cleveland's bullpen is set up, Spec, he's your 7th inning guy. Because Gaddis is your 8th inning guy. And, they had Clase. He's been gone for 2-3 months. And then Cade Smith was the 8th inning guy. Now he's your closer. So I think they're just fine with Zabrowski where he is. And he could come in earlier, maybe the 6th, depending on what the opposition lineup is featuring. If they got a couple of lefties, he's going to come in earlier. And same thing, maybe he flip-flops with Gaddis. If you can see something happening in the 8th where you're going to have a couple of left-handed batters moving forward, he's your guy.
Well, the key is he's established. Like, he's an established pitcher now in the major leagues. And here we are down the stretch, and he's pitching in every important game and getting the job done in every important game, right? He is making the situation better, not worse. So, whatever happens, it's going to be good for Eric Zabrowski because he's getting everybody out in the big leagues. It's not just a kid coming up anymore. He knows what he's doing. He's a major league pitcher, come out of St. Albert, Canada.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
So did you have to see the highlight with Skubal and Fry? Did you see that one at all, Spec?
No, I didn't.
So when you get a chance here later this morning, maybe
Guess
just
I better watch the sports, eh?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things going on. When the Oilers play, I mean, that takes precedence and stuff like that. But, well, I mean, David Fry went to square to bunt, and Scooble, one got away on him and it hit him right in the face.
Hit him right in the face. Yes, I sorry, I did see a clip of that, and that was
And
ugly.
Scooble was no good from there on in. Just totally.
Yeah. So do you think that affected the pitcher? I mean,
Absolutely.
in a series like this that's so important, Detroit's counting on Scooble stopping the bleeding here, right? He's their best guy. He's supposed to come out and win a game for them. And for Cleveland to beat Scooble, oh boy. Now they get whoever's coming up next. He's not as good as Scooble is.
Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge win for Cleveland to beat Detroit's ace, and now they got a couple games left in the series.
Well, he was cruising. Scooble was cruising spec till the 6th, where Cleveland put 3 runs on the board. 3 runs on the board without the ball leaving the infield.
Oh boy.
So
look at you. Would you watch baseball all night, Kev? You got a life or what?
No, I just know things in baseball spec. Duke's laughing his ass off here.
It's like this Laura. You ever see Laura? How's she doing? Want me to check in for
I don't
you?
know. You know what? We have an arrangement now down in September and October. There's an arrangement.
Oh, there's an arrangement.
Well, you got ball, you got football, you got hockey.
You just sit in the basement then, and
well, I split it up yesterday. I was in the basement for the first 4 or 5 innings of the Jays. Then I came upstairs and went into the office, and then did the rest of the stuff from there.
Wow, look at you.
What you're telling me that all of a sudden, like you're with what you're doing, and Schalke all of a sudden isn't doing like what she's not watching games with you all the time.
You know what? When the Oilers are on at 6, I got to write. I didn't even go back and forth. Like I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a guy that if we're watching NFL football, let's flip games around the Sunday. That's fine. But don't tell me I got to watch the Oilers and watch 3 other games at the same time. I end up watching 0 games, and I don't know anything about any of them.
I agree with you, Spec. I like to just focus on one for the most part. So
yeah, so it's like this show, Kev. You know what? I show up focused every day.
Do you?
Right?
Yeah.
100% ready to work.
I never even looked what the schedule is for morning skate and whatever. What's going on this morning here?
Well, there's a skate, and a completely different group will skate tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. They will have a morning skate. And then they'll go tonight with a much more veteran lineup against Seattle that played and lost last night in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how many guys Seattle is traveling for this thing, how different their lineup will be. But I'm sure they traveled with like 30 skaters anyway. So, yeah, so there'll be a much better game tonight. Again, Chris Knobloch basically promising yesterday you'll see that McDavid, Draisaitl, Frederick line tonight, and that's what we'll be looking for.
Got to ask you one more thing because we got a couple texts in here, Spec, that I just floated by from Ryan and Brad. I think they're mostly about the same thing. Ask Spec his opinion on loading up the top line, but also is it a ploy to help contract negotiations with Connor McDavid?
I mean, the only thing I'd say is this is I know Connor McDavid, he's not Mark Messier in Vancouver, who went there and was the GM, and it was a disaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never, I know Connor well enough, never accuse Connor of GM and his team. That makes him mad. He does not want that. That's not what he's doing. But there is a ton of cooperation. And when Chris Knobloch makes this decision, it's in consultation with Connor McDavid, with Leon Draisaitl. So I'm not telling you that the Oilers are shifting their lines to make McDavid happy, but I am telling you, if McDavid didn't think this was a good idea as well, if he wasn't along with it and it wasn't a part of it, it wouldn't happen. Is that fair, Kev?
Well, and I think the start is so important. And the other thing, too, that I mentioned is Zach Hyman, with him being out for at least a month to start the season. I think that's critical, especially to get off to a good start with the schedule the way it is, Spec, with the Olympics and everything like that. I think it's just imperative because I think we're going to see guys, the star players, run out of gas down the stretch if they are not load managed properly.
Well, it could be. I mean, that's a long ways down the road, but I know it is really. I've heard Connor McDavid say this several times already that he's sick and tired of bad starts. They've had 2 lousy starts in a row. He's taken it upon himself as a captain of this team to make sure that it is a priority here to have a good start to this season, and let's get going and let's get over the cup last year. I don't think anybody liked the way they handled coming off that 7-game series loss to Florida. And they're going to make sure that it goes a different direction this year after losing to Florida again. They're, having dealt with the hangover a year ago, I think they're going to do a lot of things differently this year, and this is one of them.
Well, and again, especially after the 2 games at home, going out on the road, and then they've got another road trip in November. So it's a tough schedule with the Olympics and again, all these top-notch players. So, all right, Spec, thanks, big fella. We'll see you down at the rink.
Sounds good, Kev.
That's Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. On the Mark, brought to you powered by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This truck's for you. Check them out at northgategm.com. Text rolling in 833-401-1440. The one that really caught my eye, Duke, was this one from Kent McKenzie. Duke, you have to come to Erskine October 4th for Harvest Havoc 3 Caged Rage, and you have to bring KK. The main event is a steel cage match. 5th wrestling event in Erskine in the last 2 years. Over 250 people show up, and the real Canadian wrestling puts on a hell of a show. This could be wild, Duke.
Well, this is clearly a big event for the small community of Erskine, and it would be convenient. My sister and her boyfriend live in town, own the house there, beautiful spot, plenty of room for me to crash.
What about, is there room for me?
Yeah, absolutely. After drinking 100 beers at this event, but I have a wedding that day.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's not this coming Saturday, but next. Is that where we're at already? October the 4th? Yeah. A wedding in which I am a groomsman and also the temporary marriage officiant. Got my papers in last week from the government of Alberta. Got to get them all printed off. I better do a couple practice reads on it, see if there's any adjustments needed to be made to the script.
Now, so I could still go. And I could
stay. Because my sister and her boyfriend will be at the same wedding.
Oh,
and we're all camping. They believe me, Kev, they will have no problem. Just they're big listeners of the show, big fans of yours. They would have no problem just turning the keys over to you. The only thing they'd probably ask is that you have to feed their cat while you're there.
I thought that was coming. No, but I want your sister to be there because I want to see why everyone is so scared of her.
Well, that sister's the youngest one,
so she's not as
well. So she is one of the ones that was mentioned in the story of golf and July 1st.
But she's not as intimidating as your older sister.
She's the smallest, but she is still mean and got a fiery spirit. But growing up, it was my 2 older sisters that really laid it to me pretty good, like the cattle prod story and drowning me in the water and all this stuff. And then unfortunately some of my then frustrations then were taken out on my younger sister. I beat on her pretty good. Wow. So that made her tougher, I'm sure, just as my older sister's beating on me helped me out. But you could probably meet them the next morning because I assume you'll be sleeping in after you drink 100 beers at the Erskine Cage Rage match.
Well, speaking, because I wanted to talk about that because coming up at 8:40, we've got Shane Fennessy, premiere tomorrow, Edmonton International Film Festival. It's called Sings in the Ring, about Stampede Wrestling.
One of your favorites.
Wow, absolutely. Now, the other thing that when I was doing some research on this, who was part of the project, he might have been actually, the concept may have came from him, is Sonny Sidhu. Now, Sonny Sidhu passed away, I think it's less than a year, to be honest with you. But he was in broadcasting. And Sonny Sidhu, when A Channel started in Edmonton in, I don't know, whatever it was, 96, 97, somewhere in there. Gene Principe would know Sonny very well. But Sonny was part of the original concept of this documentary and film, Sings in the Ring. So, just wanted to mention that. We'll get Shane's thoughts on Sonny as well. So, hey, Triple C in a truck. Rest easy, Sonny. Great guy. And I didn't know that he was involved in the project till maybe the last 3-4 days when I was made aware of it. So, when we come back, we'll have a one-on-one with Ed Hervey regarding rule changes, etc., in the CFL and where the Elks are moving forward down the stretch here, Saskatchewan here on Saturday. It's Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440. We're streaming on YouTube and X.
Some people wake up and get dressed for work in a suit and tie or a nice dress. At GS Construction, we're less fashion forward and more putting our best foot forward. We wear hard hats and steel toe boots, and most importantly, we wear 50 years of experience with pride. It's not glamorous, it's definitely not easy, but it matters. We do it well. So if you'd like to be part of something where your work matters, GS Construction is hiring. Just remember, when you come for an interview, ditch the tie. See more at gsconstruction.ca.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Karius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
This Friday, get ready for a one-of-a-kind experience with two of hockey's most legendary enforcers. Century Casino Edmonton presents an evening with Marty McSorley and Kevin McClelland. Hosted by Louis DeBrusque, they'll take the stage for an unfiltered night of stories, laughs, and memories. Hockey legends Marty McSorley and Kevin McClelland at Century Casino Edmonton. This Friday. Hurry, get your tickets now from Ticketmaster.
Coming up on Icy Road Drivers, Canadians face the repercussions of an early frost. Will this be a bump in the road, bring a stop to their journey? Or did they get an early reminder that it was time to beat the rush and schedule an expert service appointment at their local Toyota dealer? Because it's time to swap those tires, get that oil checked, and store those summer tires until warm days return. Book your appointment today and ready your Toyota for the road ahead.
At jackpotcity.net, you can do amazing things with just one casino chip. Discover a world of incredible casino games with over 500 high-quality online slot games, including the world-renowned progressive jackpot slot Mega Moolah. Play for free at jackpotcity.net and get treated as a VIP 24/7. So visit jackpotcity.net today on your tablet, laptop, or mobile. Jackpot City, a whole world of casino games. 18 plus. Please play responsibly. This is not a gambling website.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 828 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne with you on Sports 1440. We got Josh Fenwick and Sam the Record Man streaming on YouTube and X. Marty just texted in and says, the Yellowhead coming into Edmonton from the west is a mess, so drive carefully. Drive carefully. I was down at Elks practice yesterday, had a few discussions with several people about the new rules, where the team is moving forward. Should mention, when you think about the new reconfiguration of what we will see at Commonwealth Stadium, most people think, okay, well, what are you gonna, you're just at all the stadiums, you're basically going to just compact it. So you're taking 10 yards out of the middle, 5 out of the end zone. In Edmonton, what I would assume, because you've got so many boxes and suites and higher money, you know, you got the low seats in the south end zone at the top there. I would imagine everything is going back the one way, and then you would be leaving the north end of the end zone, and the north end where you're down at where you are now in the 10-yard line, or that's where the end zone is going to be. I don't foresee them moving that away and taking away the viewers and people watching the football game that are paying the bigger bucks down in that corner of that end zone and the south side, and moving it further away from there. All right. Yesterday, spoke with Ed Hervey about some rule changes and where the team is moving forward. Here's that conversation. Ed, you've been involved in the CFL a long time. Haven't seen a day like Monday with rule changes that were announced. Your overall thoughts on what you saw come down?
Yeah, I think the league feels that change is good. Is they feel the change is necessary. Just the listening to the commissioner speak. He's got a lot of data that has that supports what he's saying, and we're going to see. We'll see where it really takes us.
When you look at how the reaction's been, I mean, you hear out in BC, you probably heard across. What have you heard, and what's the kind of general feeling out there?
Honestly, I've been kind of locked in on Saskatchewan and what's been going on here. Just it's one of those things where you hear it and you kind of digest it and you have to kind of process it. And there's mixed feelings throughout the building and throughout obviously the fan base and stuff. But really, if I get a chance to really look into the rules and the stuff, because it happened so fast, so quickly, and we were focusing on our opponent. So the timing of the announcement is kind of in between our normal routine of preparing for a team. So I haven't had a real chance to really dive into what was said. But from what I've gathered and what I did hear, I mean, there are some significant changes to the league, and it'd be interesting to see how fans react, and whether that target audience that he speaks of really finds the value in the changes.
Also, it seems across the league and every locale, people aren't happy. Maybe players, management, coaches, that they weren't even discussed. They weren't even brought into the discussion here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, certain things, I think you in this league, you worry about the things you can control, right? People get upset and feel like, their opinion is so important that it has to be heard. We're talking about the league and we're talking about the owners, making a decision. They don't have to necessarily involve anyone if they don't want to. And I think that's kind of where it is. As far as everybody getting upset about it, I'm not sitting here whining about it. I'm like, okay, this are the people who are paying the bills. These are people who are doing the research and the data. The guys who were complaining about it, if they would have got a chance to talk and the league still made the decision, they'd be more upset. So I just think that people just really not worry about the decisions that are outside their control and focus on what they can.
Yeah, and we're still a long ways away from this being totally implemented in 2027. The one thing that we've been discussing a fair bit, like just say from your perspective as a manager or a coach or even a player, what do you think is going to happen if you've got a third down and long, like 3rd and 10 on your own 35-yard line, which brings a 57-yard field goal into play? What do you think is going to happen? Like, do you think coaches are going to gamble on 3rd and 10? Are they going to punt it? What do you think?
No, I mean, I don't know too many people that are going to gamble. They're going to punt it. I mean, that's what you're going to see. It's just going to be punt. Football's not changing the rules or the strategy within the game is not going to change so much that someone's going to go for it on 3rd and 10 because they can't kick a field goal. They'll probably kitty corner, punt it, try to get field position and hope that the defense can stop them like we normally do when the field goal is just out of reach. So if there's one concern, it's the excitement of the field goal return that stuck out to me, and the 35-second clock in the final 3 minutes. Those are the two things that I really want to dive into and really take a hard look at before I really give an opinion on anything beyond that. But those are two exciting parts of the game that I'm curious to see what the data showed for that part of the game.
As you said, you guys are worried about Saskatchewan here. I mean, you can't have two tougher losses back to back on the road than what you had here.
No, you can't. That's again the growing pains of the first year and young season. I mean, there's obviously opportunities. On one hand, the positives, the teams showing that they can compete with the playoff teams and teams that are in first place. The downside is that we have to close. We have to learn to win those games. When those opportunities present themselves, we have to take advantage of doing that. And the last 2 weeks have been heartbreaking for the guys, but our opportunity is in front of us with Saskatchewan. And that's what we have to focus on, coming home, playing against the Riders, and putting our best foot forward and trying to get a W and going into the bye ready to finish strong.
You handle this as a player, as a manager, scout, whatever, learning to win. I mean, it would be easy if you could just flick a switch and figure it out just like that. And there's no master plan here. Like, how do you go about getting over that hump here?
No, I think that's just the constant opportunities that the team is given when they're on the field together. The coaching staff coaching together in those moments, preparing for those moments, and then players stepping up in the moments. I think those are the things that you look for. And, again, when I was in Hamilton last year, it was the same thing. We went through those same growing pains. We fall short, and you look now, they're starting to have their successes in the second year. I look at this team, and I think this team is better than last year's Hamilton team as far as the first year is concerned. And you look at this group, and you go, like, they're in tougher games, but we just have to be able to close. There's those opportunities to close, and, we just haven't had a chance to do it. But when you're on field and you're gaining that experience, that's where it comes from.
They always say like a game comes down to 4, 5, 6 plays. Is that what you're seeing here too?
Yeah, I see that. I see it, but I also see that, sometimes it's opportunity, right? The opportunity to make a play. When a player has an opportunity to make a play, he's got to have the confidence in the play and have the confidence that he's going to make the play. And I think sometimes young players go out there and, there's some, they're unsure at times. And when their opportunity presents itself, whether you run a route short or you hit the quarterback and get a pin, like those things, you have to learn from experience and know that, hey, you can't hit the quarterback. You have to sometimes let up. And if you show the official that you're going to let up, you get benefit of the doubt. With the receiver, 3rd and 6, we gotta get to 6, right? Those type of things. And this isn't pointing fingers at the players. This is more so saying those opportunities when they present themselves the next time, we will make those plays. We'll remember those, and the experience from those previous games will take effect in games moving forward.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
It's Ed Hervey, general manager of the Edmonton Elks, and again, he's talking about, like, you got to control what you can control. Even if this wasn't discussed with players, management, coaches, they're going to do this anyway. They were going to do it anyway. So you got to move forward. And if this is what it is, you have to adapt. The teams and the organizations that adapt the quickest are going to be the most successful. And that's what they have to do, not just next year, but more importantly, for year number 2, when this all gets implemented in 2027. When we come back, a new film out. We've got the producer coming up, Shane Fennessy. It's called Sings in the Ring, and it debuts here in Edmonton at the Edmonton International Film Festival tomorrow night. Shane Fennessy will be with us right after the break. Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440. We're streaming on YouTube and X.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroll.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow oranges and browns are as colorful as the wad of hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for, call Mr. Rooter.
While the players gear up for the new season, make sure you gear up your snack game with Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Okay, this jumbo bag of beef jerky should last the preseason.
Whoa. Will Hawk has more than just beef jerky. There's smoked sausage and pepperoni products, too.
Well, how about we have jerky for Eastern opponents and pepperoni sticks when we face the Western teams?
Now that sounds like a Will Hockey game plan.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Blue Jays fans, this weekend and every weekend, you can catch Toronto Blue Jays ball games right here on Sports 1440. Ben Schulman provides the play-by-play. You provide the chips and beer. Check out the Blue Jays this weekend on Edmonton's home for sports. Sports 1440.
They sure saw you coming.
You went in for about $200 in auto service, and by the time Johnny Slick out front was done telling you everything he thought you should have replaced, you got hosed for $3,000. Big Toy Shop won't lie to you, inflate your bill, or waste your time. You'll know exactly what your service actually costs and when it's going to be done. Take your ride to Big Toy Shop, 8315 Argyle Road, 780-298-2797.
You ever done something you can't be forgiven for?
Crave is the exclusive home of HBO originals, including Task, the new crime thriller from the creator of Mayor of Easttown.
I'm going to take their money so we can have a better life.
Starring Emmy winner Mark Ruffalo.
If things go terribly wrong, people want to know why God let it happen.
And Emmy nominee Tom Pelphrey.
Have I almost found a way out? We never did anything like this.
Task, an HBO limited series. Stream now, only on Crave. Subscribe at crave.ca.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 8:41 in Edmonton. And time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing. Draining clogged pipes like three-pointers for all your plumbing needs. Go to mrrooter.ca as we welcome in Shane Fennessy, one of the producers and executive producers of a new film called Sings in the Ring, which is premiering tomorrow here at the Edmonton International Film Festival. Morning, Shane. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Good morning, Kevin. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, when I was looking at through all the credits and everything like that, I sure got a warm feeling in my heart when I saw Sonny Sadu being a part of this. Before we get to everything here, Shane, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Sonny. I met him, you know, I don't know, 1997 when he was at A Channel doing entertainment, things like that. Unfortunately, passed away several months ago. But maybe just a thought on Sonny and how he was a part of this project, Shane.
Sonny was an absolute Swiss Army knife and really the spiritual leader of this project. He brought the idea to me a few years back. Having grown up on the east coast of Canada in Newfoundland as a young, son to immigrant parents, Gama Singh was the guy on TV that he found that resonated with him. Mm-hmm. He said, he looks like my uncles. He has the same last name as me, Singh. And so he and Gama inspired Sonny. So years later, when Sonny brought this idea to me, he goes, look, not only is this the great story about Stampede Wrestling, but now Gama's son is carrying on the torch of the legacy in Stampede Wrestling. And so Sonny, unfortunately, recently lost his lifelong battle with scleroderma. Yeah. So we've dedicated the film to him. And we just, his whole family is going to be at the Edmonton screening. And we've got one in Calgary tonight, actually. So his brother's coming out to it. And it's going to be an emotional night all around.
I can't imagine what it would be like for his family here, Shane, because, and again, he was such a bright light in the broadcasting industry, always smiling. And, I just remember sharing a lot of great moments with him back in the day. So as you mentioned, Shane, so if he was, Sonny brought the idea to you, how did the concept continue on and move forward to where it is today, where you're having all the premieres?
Well, we put the financing together, talked to Gama and Raj, of course, who are just the sweetest people in the world. And, almost embarrassed that someone wanted to make a feature documentary about their lives. And it was an interesting challenge because normally when you do a biographical doc, you're following one subject or a team of people. But we had to thread the narrative of both Gama, who was big in the 70s and 80s as a professional wrestler, with contemporary footage of his son now carrying on that family legacy. So there's a bit of time jump back and forth. Mm-hmm. So hopefully audiences are able to follow along. But wrestling is a little different from our traditional sport, and what we know best here in Edmonton is hockey. You can't really dig back and look accurately at stats. You can't go, oh, this guy had a 700 win percentage on his matches, or he won the championship this number of times. Like there's intercontinental, midweight, Middle East, like all these different belts. So it's sometimes tough to put together a chronology of one's career. And granted, we're looking at stuff that was 40 or 50 years ago in Gama's case. But luckily they had a treasure trove of old photos that family members and friends took through the years. And so slowly but surely you start interviewing people, you get the story straight, you hear people's different reimaginings of the story, and we put it together in an entertaining and still truthful way.
Mm-hmm. Shane Fennessy with us, producer of Sings in the Ring, which premieres here in Edmonton tomorrow night, in Calgary tonight. I grew up with Stampede Wrestling, Shane, like so many people. And I mean, it was a staple on Saturday afternoon. What was it like for you and everyone else to go through all of that old video and all that old footage?
Well, for younger folk like me, I was born 1988, so didn't quite have a full appreciation of how big Stampede Wrestling was at that time. We're used to unified leagues like the NHL, NBA, UFC now even, where if it's not the top league, it's not all that interesting to the average fan. But rewind before Vince McMahon of the WWF started buying up all the independent territories, Stampede Wrestling was the biggest unified wrestling territory promotion in North America. So you have the biggest stars coming to Alberta to compete. You've got the Hart family, of course, who went on to be hugely successful, not in just Stampede, but the WWF as well. And so it really just, it ignites nostalgia for people to go back to this time. And of course, the other thing is the greatest, wrestling is storytelling, right? It's good versus evil. And so you've got the Hart family. They were the golden boys of the wrestling world back then. But the greatest heroes are always measured up against the greatest villains. And Gama Singh was the greatest villain of Stampede Wrestling, both as an independent wrestler and then as the head of the Karachi Vice.
I mean, all these, the lingo, it just brings back so many memories. You mentioned, and when you put together a project and you're producing something like this, and you're going back and forth in time, as you said, when you have Gama and you have Raj carrying on this tradition. And I know you said about jumping back and forth, and so many documentaries now do that. And was that ever a concern for you when you were doing it and talking about, oh man, are people going to be able to follow along here?
Well, it's pretty obvious given that the footage that we pull from Stampede back in the early days is quite grainy. It's 4:3 format. And then, of course, we're shooting in 4K. And our director, Akash Sherman, and our great team cinematographers, Chase Garden, and colorist, Blair Elstad, they put this really great, like kind of grainy, unique coloring on our 4K footage. So it's still a very clear delineation. Are we back in the 70s, 80s, or are we in 2024, 25? And I think the audience is really going to appreciate the technical elements that we've poured our heart and soul into with this film, not only from the color, but the sound design. And we've got 2 wrestling sequences where we shoot Raj live at matches. And a few people who have viewed the film said those were scripted, right? Like, you guys rented out a place. We're going, no, we shot that live. Wow. Like, you watch it, but it's going to feel like a movie.
What were you using for cameras? How many cameras for a shoot like that?
On the interviews, we'd usually have 2 or 3. We've got the Ari Amir's sort of big cinematic format cameras. And then on some more of the, follow, so Gama behind stage or meeting everyone behind in the dressing rooms, you shoot on something smaller like a Canon C300, something that's a little quicker than those larger format cameras, and a little less intrusive too. You don't want a huge shoulder mount when you're trying to catch an intimate moment.
Yeah, no kidding. Shane Fennessy, producer of Sings in the Ring, which again premieres here tomorrow night at the Edmonton International Film Festival. As you said, Shane, dealing with the family, and they were almost like, "Oh, why do you want to do something like this?" Was that tough to get over that hump? And then, because that's how you get those great stories and all those angles.
I mean, we look at the start. We say we think this is a great story. We think you should open up our lives to the camera. Obviously, we're biased. We want to tell this story, and it is a career for us. But we just say, look, we're only going to do this if everything's on the table. And tell us right now up front, are you open to that? And is that an option? And if they say yes, then it's like, all right, let's go. And I think part of that trust comes from a track record of past biographical documentaries that we can really lean on our past subjects, especially at tough times in the edit when you're deciding what to include and what has to go. and say, look, everyone gets cold feet at a certain point. We're shining a light into the private corners of your life. So it is nerve wracking, but we can rely on guys like Grant Fuhr, Jordan Tutu, guys who've done their stories already, and say, look, do you want to talk to them? And they said, they'll tell you they went through the exact same thing at this stage. But you just have to have faith in our team that when it's all put together, audiences are going to respond very positively.
Yeah, exactly. Shane Fennessy with us on Sports 1440 from our text line. Shane, this comes from texter Hot Salsa. KK, ask Shane about Makan Singh. Any relation to Gama or just a ring name?
So Makan Singh, also part of Karachi Vice. So you'll see in the film, they have this wild idea where they're going to create this stable of wrestlers from Pakistan, right? So Karachi Vice, a play on the old Miami Vice. Makan Singh was this big, fat, like mountain of a man, Mike Shaw, and they just put a turban on him and said, what are we going to call him? Let's call him Muckin. Muckin meaning butter. So his name was literally Butter Singh. And they had a ceremony where Gama placed the turban on his head and christened him into it. You had Rhonda Singh, you had Cam Singh. Like, it was a whole stable of villains. And to this day, you'll still see people when WWE comes and shoots in Calgary, you'll see people with Karachi Vice for Life signs up in the crowd.
Oh, that's such a cool story. What was it like dealing with the Harts and Bret Hart in particular, I guess? I was lucky enough to work in Calgary, Shane, almost 30 years ago. And I ended up, doing some stuff that did a story on them and was down in the dungeon at the Hart House and stuff like that. So know all about it. It's a cool family place history. But what about working with the Harts here?
Well, firstly, I'm insanely jealous that you actually were able to get into the Hart Dungeon because it's since been sold and we couldn't contact the person who's bought it. So that was unfortunate. But I mean, we have Bret Hart, Ross Hart, and Bruce Hart all in the film, and they were just great to deal with. They obviously have a passion for wrestling, and though they're not quite as involved anymore, they love going back and telling these stories. And Bret he's such a proud Canadian. There's some really great moments we have in the film of speeches he gave in the ring about what it means to be Canadian. And I think that, it resonated in the 90s, and now we've come full circle where it's time that I think we get a little bit more pride in being Canadian, deciding what we stand for and treating people well. So Bret actually, he brought a tear to our eyes and his own when he was being interviewed.
Yeah.
And obviously just nothing but great things to say about Gama. And what's interesting is Bret and Gama are both kind of two of the only guys left of that era from that sort of Stampede clutch, because wrestling is a hard sport on your body, on your brain, the lifestyle. And Bret is very complimentary of Gama. He kind of skirted under the wire and managed to survive and get through all that unscathed. So couldn't be happier to have included all those Hearts.
Shane Fennessy with us on the Kevin Karius Show, producer of Sings in the Ring. Again, the premiere tomorrow in Edmonton, right here in Calgary tonight. When you do projects, and you've been part of several of them, Shane, in the sense of, going back to making Coca and the 2-2 one that you mentioned, you can prepare all you want, but sometimes a curve gets thrown at you and you have to maybe adapt, adjust on the fly. Did you have moments like that in this one for you, Shane, or did everything go as smoothly as you had hoped for right from the very beginning?
Well, we pride ourselves in being kind of professional firefighters. Like, as producers, our job is just to deal with one problem after the next and really clear the way for the real true creatives to do what they do best. In this one, I would say some of our challenges were the fact that the wrestling promotion world is so fickle. Like, for Raj's case, you might be scheduled to be at a show, and then last minute the writers change everything and say, okay, actually, sorry, you're not on tonight, you're on tomorrow night. So that happened to us on a couple occasions. And then unfortunately, we lost a few months before we planned to interview him, another Stampede Wrestling legend, Champagne Jerry Morrow. Very, very close friend of Gama Singh. So having planned to include him throughout the production and then to have that pulled away from us, obviously not ideal, and sometimes leaves a bit of a gap in the story. And then it's just a matter of, do we, you might have a great story that everyone remembers, but do we have footage of it? Is there a way that we can show it visually on screen? And people who come see Sings in the Ring will see, there's a couple times we didn't, but we found a creative way to do reenactments with some animation. So it'll be a delight for fans.
One more text. DV Joe says,
Ask if the Cuban assassin shows up. It's on. Is the Cuban assassin in here?
We weren't able to get the Cuban assassin. He is referenced a bunch of times, along with a lot of other famous, notorious wrestlers of that era.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a matter of, how many guys can you get to? How many can you include? Do they drive the story forward? And, honestly, this could have been a 2-3 parter, especially focusing on those Stampede and international wrestling days. But at the end of the day, you've got roughly 90 minutes to fill, and it's got to keep fast paced and keep viewers engaged.
What's runtime? An hour and a half or so?
Yeah, just over. I think it's 96 minutes.
Okay.
I should know that, but
I'm just actually, I got 95. So you're bang on pretty well, Shane. Give us details. So tonight in Calgary and then back here tomorrow?
That's right. So tonight we're at the Globe Cinema in Calgary, 6:30 p.m. It's the world premiere. Tomorrow night, we're the opening gala film of the Edmonton International Film Festival. So that's going to be at the Landmark City Center Cinemas at 6:30 p.m. Tickets can be found at edmontonfilmfest.com.
What's reaction been so far in promoting this, Shane?
We got nominated for 9 Alberta Film Awards, which we're thrilled about. You never want to judge your career on awards and accolades, but it's always nice to get recognized, especially given that we can dedicate the awards to Sonny. But true wrestling fans who have watched this so far, and we've shared to a few, Jeff Merrick out formerly of Sportsnet, and he was blown away by it. He goes, he texted me 10 minutes in, I'm loving this already. Great work.
Yeah.
So it's fun, even if you're not a wrestling fan. As an average person, go see a show at the Legion or go see TNA this weekend at the Expo. Even if you're not a fan, I guarantee you're going to have a good time. Same thing with this film. Even if you know nothing about the Stings or Stampede Wrestling or the Hearts, you're going to watch this. You're going to have a good time because it's about family, it's about fun, it's about culture, and it's about passion.
Yeah. And there's an after party too tomorrow night?
There is an after party. Tickets are sold out, kind of fortunately, unfortunately. But that'll be a guru. So if you find me by the back door and slip me 100, maybe I'll get you in the kitchen.
Sounds good. Hey, Shane, thanks so much for talking about this. And again, with Sonny being a part of it, unfortunately couldn't see it all the way through, but I bet he's sure smiling down and going, great job, guys. So thanks for coming on. Best of luck tonight in Calgary, and same thing for tomorrow here in Edmonton.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kevin. Appreciate it.
All right. That's Shane Fennessy, producer, Sings in the Ring. The world premiere tonight in Calgary. It's going to be buzzing down there. And then in Edmonton here tomorrow. And again, it's just it's a time of where if you were a little bit older that you remember Stampede Wrestling. And the one story that I always say to people, for me, and I was blown away at this. So watching Stampede Wrestling in the 70s and I guess into the early 80s, when I ended up going to Calgary for, I guess, I play a little hockey, but to go to school for broadcasting, I couldn't believe that Ed Whalen was the play-by-play man of the Calgary Flames. I was like, no, that can't be true. Ed Whalen is Stampede Wrestling. There's no way. But, for years, and of course, we never got Flames games on TV, and it was on Channel 2 and 7 back when Calgary, had the local rights, the Flames. So you didn't see yet Hockey Night in Canada and maybe the odd game here and there, but I couldn't believe Ed Whalen, play-by-play, Flames, NHL, come on, no way. But there you go, and I just remembered him from Stampede Wrestling. Good job, Shane, and best of luck. That's just going to be awesome tonight in Calgary, then in Edmonton tomorrow night. That was the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter, the true goat of local plumbing. That's mrrooter.ca. When we come back, David Schlemko was going to be with us for Cougar Paint and Collision, but feeling a little bit under the weather, Schlemmer is. So maybe we'll run a little Elks one-on-ones that we did yesterday. We've got John Goyens from the Montreal Canadiens coming up at 9:20. And then Keith Stewart. Oh, boy, here it's Wednesday. Read the Line covering the Ryder Cup. It gets underway Friday at Bethpage Black. We'll see what Keith thinks if you want to drop a little dough from European side, American side. Fans are going to be rabid. It's going to be wild. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by
First Round. Sunday's got even better. At First Round, you can win an NFL helmet or a jersey and enjoy the big Pro Bowl brunch. Only at Edmonton's NFL headquarters. That's First Round. Also, should mention that on Saturday, First Round is opening up a little bit earlier, 9 a.m., to watch Canada and England World Cup Women's Rugby Final. That's on Saturday. But obviously, Edmonton's NFL headquarters on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. That is First Round. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Oilers take their preseason game last night against the Jets 3-2 as they look to carry that momentum over tonight against the Kraken at 7 p.m. Other scores from last night, the Flames take down the Kraken 4-1. The Canadiens top the Flyers 4-2, and the Senators beat the Maple Leafs 3-2. Blue Jays take a close loss last night against the Red Sox last night, 4-1. The Jays have also DFA'd Alek Manoah before the game to make room for Anthony Santander on the 40-man roster. Elsewhere in the majors, the Yankees cut the Jays' lead to just one game as they take a win over the White Sox 3-2. The Cleveland Guardians tie the Tigers atop the AL Central with a 5-2 win over Detroit, and the Mariners have punched their playoff ticket with a 4-3 win over the Rockies. Big night in the WNBA as the Mercury tie their series with the Lynx in an 89-83 win on the road, and MVP Aja Wilson led the Aces to a win last night with the Fever, with their series tied at 1 apiece. Coming up in Hour 3, we'll be joined by Montreal Canadiens analyst John Goyens, and this has been your Sports 1440 update with Sam Wilmus.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
I'm a little hungry.
I've got Booster Balls from Booster Juice.
Booster what now?
Booster Balls. They're little protein bites packed with nutrients. Chewy, crunchy, yummy, and new flavors all the time. Like this little guy, the new mint chocolate Booster Ball, peppermint, cocoa, coconut, peanut butter, maple syrup, all rolled up into a delightful little bite-sized snack.
Why am I just hearing about this now?
I don't know.
Can I have one?
No.
Booster Juice. Canadian born. Blending since 1999.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Center. TNA Wrestling makes its explosive debut at the Expo Center on Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th for back-to-back nights. Buy your tickets online today. Learn more about what's happening at the Expo Center by visiting the calendar of events online at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Looking for an all-season vehicle with room for the hockey gear, comfort for the daily commute, and rugged capability for your weekend adventures? That's the all-new 2025 Jeep Compass, and you'll find it during the biggest sale of the year this month at St. Albert Dodge. Now, what can I say? It's a Jeep, it's a 4x4, and it's loaded with standard features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, keyless entry, and heated front seats, all starting from just $34,900. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Can I take your order?
Yeah, can I get a...
Yes. A common reaction from a veggie lover. Always scanning, searching, longing. But wait, what is this we see? The new McVeggie, now at McDonald's.
When you have lifting and material handling needs, Northwest Crane delivers. Western Canada's Sani dealer, backed by the industry's toughest one. 3 years, 3,000 hours, no compromises. They service all crane makes and models with skilled technicians and deep industry expertise. Alberta owned with locations in Leduc and Grand Prairie and fully equipped service trucks. Northwest Crane keeps your operation lifting. For more information on sales or service, visit northwestcrane.com.
The Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:05 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius with you, Duke of Delburne, but Sam, the record man's taken over the board there. Good job, Sam. Sorry, I thought Duke was doing the last update, Sam. I mean, normally that's what happens, but good job. You're running the show now, or what's going on here?
I'm not entirely sure, but as long as I'm doing a good job here.
Do you have any idea of Stampede Wrestling? Do you, I mean, this is a long time ago. Have you heard about Stampede Wrestling in your?
I've heard of it, but probably just in passing.
Okay. It was a big deal back in the day. And again, as Shane Fennessy said, big part of Alberta history, Calgary history, Canadian history, for sure. Text rolling in 833-401-1440. Hot Salsa says, KK, my wrestling story. Here it is. My world was shattered when Stampede Wrestling came to Priestville, Saskatchewan. My friend's dad owned the Priestville Hotel, and I stayed with his friend overnight after the wrestling show. We peeked our heads into the bar, and all the wrestlers were sitting there having beers and drinks together. From that moment on, I thought that these guys are beating the crap out of each other. Ended. Still love wrestling, though, for the rest of my life. In the bar, the Hearts, Davey Boy Smith, the Dynamite Kid, Cuban Assassin, Maka Singh, Bad News Brown, Jason, etc. It's kind of not getting the text is a little unclear. Rod says the Stomper, my favorite, Archie Gold. I mean, there's so many guys that came through. Like Andre the Giant wrestled at in the Calgary Stampede Wrestling. As famous as it gets. I mean, when you're talking about what happened down the road, I mean, Hulk Hogan said in the documentary of Andre the Giant that, Andre the Giant was the showman. He, like, as good and as big as worldwide as Hulk Hogan was, he deferred to Andre the Giant. That's a hell of a documentary on HBO. So there's your weekend assignment, Sam the Record Man. Do you get HBO?
I don't get HBO.
Okay. Can you find the documentary Andre the Giant?
I'll probably find some scrounged up way to watch it.
What do you mean a scrounged up way?
I don't know, YouTube or maybe a podcast, or maybe I'll pirate it. Who knows?
Oh boy, there were so many and again, the Cuban Assassin was a big name back then, and all the Hearts, Bruce and Brett and Keith and Owen and Stu. Mr. Hito was a big time guy, very popular. Jim Neidhart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Did you know, I think even Angelo Mosca, he was there for a while, the old Hamilton Tie Cat. I'm not sure if Joe Cap was there, but Angelo Mosca was there. Whipper Billy Watson in the early days. Like, these were guys that were just Chris Benoit. I mean, Andre the Giant. I mean, the names are just, they're flooding back. IMAX says, play the song. I don't know what that means, but that's the way she goes.
He wanted to hear Radio by Queen. He wanted me to. What are you doing over there? Duke, you get off the board, and the two of you guys, it's like the Three Stooges over there now.
Josh is just showing me a tweet that's questioning who's more due for or gets more credit for the Chargers' turn of success. Madison Beer, who of course is Justin Herbert's new girlfriend, or some other, I don't know, Instagram influencer or something, very attractive young woman that is a Chargers fan and wears Chargers gear. So just had a good chuckle.
So what about her? You think that's why Herbert's playing so well, or what?
Well, that's what this tweet was asking. It begs the question: who gets more credit for the Chargers' success, Madison Beer or this Instagram girl? I don't know the answer to that. I think it's probably just Justin Herbert himself. Probably Jim Harbaugh gets quite a bit of credit too.
Well, I would think so.
I would think so.
There's also a documentary too on the Iron Sheik that I was watching a little bit.
Yeah,
he was. Have you seen that one, Duke?
No, I know. I've seen the Andre the Giant one. I haven't. I'm not as familiar with the Iron Sheik. Sort of like Sam says, he's familiar. He's heard of Stampede Wrestling. I know the name Iron Sheik, but I couldn't tell you like about him.
Well, you guys are learning a lot today.
I learn a lot in here every day.
No, you
Kevin.
don't.
Like today, I learned that Speck fell out of a extension arm while trying to paint the side of a house, and then ended up painting the Caraganas instead. And just to go back to that, when Speck's complimenting you about how much baseball you're watching, and you just say, "Well, yeah, I know a lot about it."
That didn't come out the way I want. That sounded
it
so
seemed like
arrogant.
you were trying to be humble. You're like, "Yeah, well, I know a lot."
That came out the wrong way, and then I got a couple texts. From
the one comparing you to the great Stoff.
Yeah, no, that came out the wrong way. I didn't mean it like that.
Too good.
I just was trying to get Speck because he didn't seem to know anything about baseball we were talking about last night.
Well, he's busy watching the Oilers.
Sure he was. Well, we all were. Danny in YYC says, "Hey KK, this quote will live forever." Axel Foley said, "Ed to Ed McMahon." Not Ed Whalen, pardon me. "Ed, we're having a party tonight, and you're not invited." Oh, I was just looking at the Stampede Wrestling Hall of Fame. I mean, there's not enough stuff on the internet, to be honest with you. And when you talk to, listening to Shane, he said it was tough to find a lot of this stuff. I'm finding, just searching Stampede Wrestling, there's not a lot of sites out there. There's not a lot of history on Stampede Wrestling as much as there should be. Anyway, Davey Boy Smith, there was the other one. Oh, boy. But just looking at the list of guys that are on, when you look at the Wrestling Hall of Fame, unbelievable. Text 833-401-1440. Oh, no, my mom is texting in. Oh, no. She can't say that. I can't even say that word on the air, Mom. Come on, what's the matter with you? Holy cow. This is your mom. Oh, boy. She's talking about they used to have tag teams, but Mom, you're going to get me in trouble here. So anyway, 833-401-1440. I guess we're up against it here, Duke, because we got John Goyens coming on, Montreal Canadiens analyst. We'll have to push back Jake Julian to a little later in the show. Also have coming up Cody Fajardo. He had some really interesting takes on, again, with the goalposts being taken out for 2027 in the CFL. I asked him about, what about when you're lining up with the ball on your own 5-yard line? And he goes, well, that's the whole thing. No one's been talking about this. Everyone's talking about when you are trying to score in the CFL. You got the ball on the 15-yard line. You drop back to pass, and now you can go over the middle a lot more than what you were doing. Hey, but make no mistake, CFL teams would call plays that would go around and use the goalpost as a pick, and they would use that to their advantage. It's been done. It's dangerous too, because you could be throwing into there. Fajardo talked about it in 2019. He's got the most famous doink, if you want to call it, when he was playing in Saskatchewan. But what he did say is, now if you've got the ball, say on your 5-yard line, and you are under center, not in a shotgun, and say you have the ball on whatever hash mark. Well, you couldn't do, and you still can't till 2027. You can't do a 5-step drop. It's impossible because you could be not necessarily running into the base of the goalpost, but now you're bringing that into play where if you do drop back and you're, I don't know, say you're a yard or 2 yards on a 5-step drop inside the end zone, now you can't throw because if you're throwing deeper, you might hit the bottom of the bar. If you do that, that play call was non-existent, never has been. It's never been in play, but now it will be in 2027. We'll discuss that with Cody Fajardo coming up at 10 o'clock or so. We'll also check in with Jake Julian. And again, he's already starting to work on his punting, where he's thinking about, he started calling it banana curl punting, how he's got to get the ball back in a certain part of the corner. If you are, again, on the 35-yard line, he's punting from midfield now, not center field, from midfield, right? Not from the 55-yard line. He is punting from the 50. So he's got to make sure that he is kicking it somewhere in the 40 yards. And again, it's a coffin corner kick if you want to call it that. Also coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, Keith Stewart, Read the Line, covering the Ryder Cup. That gets underway on Friday with foursomes alternate shot, if you want to call it that. So that's all straight ahead. When we come back, we'll check in with John Goyens, Montreal Canadiens analyst. It was a big night for the Czechai brothers last night in Montreal's 4-2 win over Philadelphia. It's the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440. We're streaming on YouTube and X.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Center. TNA Wrestling makes its explosive debut at the Expo Center on Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th for back-to-back nights. Buy your tickets online today. Learn more about what's happening at the Expo Center by visiting the calendar of events online at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
At Fountain Tire, we're fluent in saving you money.
Fluent?
Yes, we've mastered the language of deals. Like right now, you can save up to 25% off select tires and up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires. Plus, $50 off $150 service when you buy those tires. All until October 18th.
I'm sorry, I don't speak deals.
Spend less, save more when you buy round black things from us.
Oh, got it.
Restrictions apply. Book your appointment online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
God said, I need somebody to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, go to town, and stay all night at a meeting at the school board. So God made a farmer.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We are so thankful God made a farmer. For the month of September, it is our goal to feed 500 families. With every vehicle sold, we will feed a family of 4. So please help us reach our goal. Visit us online at northgategm.com.
From the first face-off to the final, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk with live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows. We bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7 only on Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports station.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
You ever done something you can't be forgiven for? Crave is the exclusive home of HBO originals, including Task, the new crime thriller from the creator of Mayor of Easttown.
I'm going to take their money so we can have a better life.
Starring Emmy winner Mark Ruffalo.
If things go terribly wrong, people want to know why God let it happen.
And Emmy nominee Tom Pelfrey.
I almost found a way out. We never did anything like this.
Task, an HBO limited series. Stream now, only on Crave. Subscribe at crave.ca.
Shop the Fall Big Red Sale at Canadian Tire and save up to 50% on select seasonal must-haves until September 25th. Conditions and exclusions apply.
Score an A-plus deal on 5G Ultra Home Internet from Explore. Switch to incredible internet speeds and get a $100 gift card for a limited time. Upgrade today at explore.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:20 in Edmonton. Time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. Are you ready to swap your tires out this fall? Well, Fountain Tire makes it easy and saves you cash too. Get $50 off tire storage with the purchase of a new set of tires. September, all month long, right through the 30th. No more stacking tires in your garage. Let us handle it. Select locations for details as we welcome back John Goyens, Montreal Canadiens analyst, to the show. Good morning, John. You're with Kevin Karius once again. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So how are we looking here for Montreal after a season last year where the Canadiens, I don't know if they surprised some people, John. I don't know if that's your opinion, but they are a fun team to watch. And I think everyone agrees that they're trending in the right direction. What's the feeling with the Habs this year, John?
Well, the feeling here, if you walk into a coffee shop, a restaurant, a sports bar, it almost feels like they're on the brink of a Stanley Cup. I always go into it with a coaching background with a much more tempered approach. As you could see with some books behind me of the glory days of the Montreal Canadiens, the reality is, there's elements that have improved tremendously. There's some great injection of youth and skill in a Demidov, for example. But there's going to be some areas that are going to be question marks at the beginning of the year in terms of what are you going to do to replace 3 players that were in your top 5 minutes played on the penalty kill? An area that improved dramatically from going 27th in the league in 23-24 to 9th in the league. So there's an area that we all know is hugely important, especially early in a season. To me, I think is going to be a telltale sign that there's players in this lineup whose roles are going to be modified and elevated in such regard, because you lost David Savard on the back end, who was second most used player on the penalty kill, Armia and Dvorak. And it's an area that I think a lot of fans haven't necessarily focused on, and probably shouldn't. They're excited for the injection of youth. I'm excited to call these games moving forward.
I wanted to start with a local product in Caden Gooley, John. And man, I mean, we're just scratching the surface here, tip of the iceberg. After he was hurt last year, it was a different dynamic. And then when he came back, but what do you see from a guy like Caden Gooley this year, John?
So Caden Gooley, with my background, having coached in the Quebec Major Junior League and having watched and consulted here and there, I've said it in broadcasts. I see Caden Gooley will slowly but surely start to inject himself more on the offensive 5-on-5. I think he has shown his ability to scrap it out, grind it out, battle, play with great intensity and passion. I believe his role, for example, on the penalty kill. Last year, he played 117 minutes on the penalty kill. Well, David Savard played 240, and so I think that's a guy right there with he and Alex Carrier are going to pick up the slack in that area. But I could see Caden Gooley slowly but surely start injecting more offense at 5-on-5, using that shot, being the third and fourth guy on the rush, where I feel maybe over the last couple of years, at times there's been a hesitation. And maybe sometimes he puts so much into every shift that sometimes he's going to have to do a little less and get more results and save a little bit of fuel in the tank for the third period. But I could see Caden Gooley not only elevating his game in terms of his impact, but elevating his game on the offensive side of things at 5-on-5.
Montreal Canadiens analyst John Goyens, our guest on the Kevin Carey Show on Sports 1440. So do you, and every time that the Canadians came to town, John, it seemed Mike Matheson and Caden Gooley played against Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, maybe other top players on teams. But with Noah Dobson coming in, how do you see things shaping up pairing-wise here?
Well, it looks like what they're trying to do here early in training camp is Gooley with Hudson, Matheson with Noah Dobson, and Alex Carrier will end up with either Arbor Jackeye or Jaden Struble. What we see in training camp and what materializes here in the first 10 games of the regular season, we'll see how that plays out. The incredible thing about what Matheson and Gooley have really understood here over the last couple of years is when they play, and I challenge any pundits out there, you go watch, and it's only 2 games a year, you go watch those 4 games and you watch how well they defend McKinnon, McCarr, Rantanen, McDavid, Draisaitl. What they do so well is they take away their path. They anticipate where they want to go before they have the puck and once they have the puck, and they do a tremendous job of not overcommitting on the physicality and just steering the play to the outside. It's incredible to watch in person and on TV.
You just mentioned Arbor Jackeye there, John. How cool was that last night to see Arbor and brother Florian playing against Philadelphia? And Florian scores a goal. Fight, man. That must have been pretty cool last night.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And obviously, the matriarch of the family has been very active on social media, and it's a fun follow. And she posted a picture as she's getting off at the exit just before getting to the Bell Center that, hey, my boys don't know I'm coming to the game type of thing. I'm a big fan of both players, but Florian Jackeye, because I did the American Hockey League the last couple of years on the broadcast side of things, Florian Jackeye is a guy that we couldn't get enough of. I still believe that go down to the American Hockey League, really continue to build your brand and build that consistency. But an exciting moment for his brother, his family. But I think a lot of fans hadn't seen Florian Jackeye. I think he's a throwback. I think he's the future of an identity line in Montreal. Maybe a Tuck joins him on that identity line because they just play north-south and smash mouth hockey. And Arbor Jackeye is coming to training camp a little lighter, and he knows that he's in a battle with Jaden Struble to be consistently in the lineup night in, night out.
John Goyens with us on Sports 1440. Am I out in left field saying that maybe that's one thing that's been missing with this Montreal Canadiens lineup is some, a little more size, a little more grit? Maybe we saw it in the Washington series last year. I don't know. Where do you stand on that, John?
No, I agree, because I think as Josh Anderson's role has kind of modified, and 2 years ago it looked like he was, and I'm not saying this in a disparaging way, but it was kind of like an identity crisis. Am I the guy being paid to score 25 to 32 goals a year, or do I now play a lesser role because I'm not playing on the power play? And he started playing that smash mouth hockey, obviously infamous situation with Wilson between periods, jumping into ending up in the benches and stuff like that. But then it's who's next that brings that. And I think it's Florian Jackeye. I think potentially then it's Luke Tuck also, because it is something, as this roster kind of shapes into a top 6, bottom 6 kind of formation. You're looking at, Gallagher on the back 9 of his career. You're looking at Newhook. You're looking at Jake Evans, Bolduc, Veleno. The only guy that plays that north-south, make defenders worry about going back for pucks is really Josh Anderson.
John Goyens, Montreal Canadiens analyst, with us on the Kevin Carey Show on Sports 1440. So many people have Ivan Demidov picked as one of their favorites to win the Calder this year. What do you see from Demidov so far, and can he take it to the next level that a lot of people think he can here, John?
Well, I think he has the skill set. I think he has he scans the ice really, really well. He is definitely a player as incredible as his skill set is. It's the fact that he knows exactly which move, which skill to use before he even gets the puck. It never seems to slow down. If it does, he's in charge. I think there's been the comparables to the Kucherovs and so on and so forth. I could see this kid within 5 years being a player that other prospects try to get compared to, because that's how elite his skill set is. But we all know a couple of games doesn't make a career, and we'll see how this first stretch of that National Hockey League season, that grind, the travel, and all that type of stuff, is it going to wear on him, or are we going to see a repeat of what Lane Hudson did in the first year of his career in Ivan Demidov, number 93 for the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, let's go to Lane Hudson there, John. I mean, Calder, 60 assists, absolutely amazing first season. I mean, where do you stand on this guy? What can he do for an encore here in year number 2?
Well, I don't think he needs to do much more. I mean, if he can repeat a very similar performance and continue to improve, the defenders, that's the thing, right? They always say goalies and defensemen take longer to develop. And a lot of times that's because for defensemen, it's your play without the puck. It's, again, pre-scanning the play, being aware of who's on the ice, maybe pinching in a little earlier to close gaps and so on and so forth. But what he did incredibly well, he was so elusive, not just with the puck, but when other teams were trying to maybe run him into the third row of the stands, he avoided physical contact, not in such a way that you would say he's scared, but that he was just that much smarter, knowing the situation and avoiding that contact and, kind of sucking people in and forcing them to miss and then moving that puck and jumping into the rush. I just see, for him, it's you improve maybe 2% more defensively and just continue to do what he did last year offensively.
Nick Suzuki, John, do you think he'll have a little burr under his saddle here to have a really fantastic start and maybe make some waves and get some Olympic people, some Olympic brass looking his way here?
Absolutely. We covered a lot of this when I was doing some stuff with the Daily Faceoff last year with Frank Saravelli and Tyler Yaremchuk. The reality is he could have easily made that team last year. But after the Four Nations, he really took control of that team. He was the most consistent with and without the puck. Early in the year, he didn't put up the points, but it was how he played without the puck that just made him that, the comparables again, the Patrice Bergeron of the Montreal Canadiens. But right now, you're looking at a guy that's going to be a point-a-game player, can play in all situations. He's got a lot of speed. He's got poise. He's got some jam to him. I think his role will also be elevated in terms of penalty killing last year. He only played about 56, 60 minutes last year. I think that'll be elevated as well. I think, in my opinion, I think he's a no-brainer for that team next year.
John Goyens with us on Sports 1440. I really, the words from Patrick Lyon really struck me, saying about Montreal got me back to where I love hockey again. What was that reaction in Montreal, John? And can Lyon get back to where he was once one of the most prolific scorers here in the NHL?
Well, it's one of those things. It's players have a choice to make, right? Like you choose to compete on a night-to-night basis. You choose to put in the work and be consistent. And the consistencies a lot of times are the routine and what gets you prepared to play, what gets you ready to perform and compete at the highest levels. And we saw flashes sometimes when he got ticked off and he would run a guy and you're like, this guy's an animal when he wants to be. But unfortunately, in that stretch near the end of the season and going into the playoffs, sure, he had a few bumps and bruises, just like everybody else, but his play dropped dramatically. He was starting to play 11 minutes a night. If I'm not mistaken, in his last 15 games, he only had a handful of games where he played more than 14 minutes a night. And the reality is on the power play, he is prolific, but at the same time, you can't just remain a one-trick pony. I think he's got to get in a little bit of movement because I went through the numbers from last season. The Canadiens' power play, 30 games without Line A in the lineup, was 20.4%. With Line A in the lineup, it was 19.85%. In his first 9 games, he scored 8 power play goals. That means he scored only 12 goals over his next 43 games. He seems excited. He seems to have really embraced the environment here. But as we all know, put the money where your mouth is and let's go. Like, let's start off the bat the right way. Stay healthy. Start using your body without the puck. Smack a couple of opponents on the forecheck, and I think that'll create more space for them at 5-on-5 and on the power play.
Couple more for you, John. I mean, the Atlantic Division, a lot of people talk about the Central, how tough it is, but man, that Atlantic Division, when you look at the teams and teams trending upwards like Ottawa, like Montreal, what do you make of how tough this division is going to be just to get into a playoff position?
Yeah, and what about Columbus, right? Like, Columbus really made a huge push last year with some players, Voronkov, for example, coming out of nowhere in a lot of ways, and we all know that the tragedy that they had to deal with and overcome, and they really played an unbelievable brand of hockey the entire season. It's going to be a dogfight, and with the condensed schedule, I've never seen the Montreal Canadiens in the last 3 years of my broadcasting career play so many Sunday games through the month of December into January, where they play something like 5 Sundays in a row. That's not typical of a Montreal Canadiens schedule, where a lot of back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, because of the condensed schedule. So the race is on as of the first day of the regular season because of the Olympic break. And because of that Olympic break, teams are also going to be already formulating plans for the trade deadline. And it's going to be really interesting how quickly they come out of the gate here.
Well, you guys make your way out west fairly early here. I think right off the hop. I think it's the Oilers' 3rd home game of the season. They've got a little road trip, and you guys are here on the 23rd of October. So, hey, John, we'll see you then. Thanks for this. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on and enjoy the start of the season. Should be a good one again on many fronts across the league.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's John Goyens, Montreal Canadiens analyst, and the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And again, if you want to swap those tires out, do it right now, and you get $50 off tire storage when you purchase a new set of tires. It's right through to the end of the month. No more stacking tires in your garage, and that's a pain in the butt for sure. Check them out at fountaintire.com. When we come back, I guess we're going to go in or out with the Duke. Maybe it's going to be Sam the Record Man. Who knows what's going on around here? Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Sam the Record Man, Josh Fenwick. It's a cast of thousands on Sports 1440. We're streaming on YouTube and X.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroll.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow oranges and browns are as colorful as the wad of hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for. Call Mr. Rooter.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Smart, connected, community driven. Jason Greger sets the standard for sports talk in Edmonton. Join the conversation on Sports 1440. Text Greger 833-401-1440. Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
Want some good news? St. Albert Dodge is holding the biggest sale of the year on their in-stock Ram 1500 Sports. Every single one on the lot is discounted by a whopping $14,000. Yeah, 14 grand. And St. Albert Dodge has the best selection in Alberta. Over 90 Ram 1500 Sports to choose from, with great packages, including the Night Edition and GT models, all $14,000 off the ticket price. Get down there and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Edmonton Elks Indigenous Celebration is back, presented by No Frills. September 27th versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders, featuring Indigenous dance and drum halftime performances, pregame makers market, and the unveiling of our brand new Indigenous gear. Tickets at goelks.com.
It takes grit. It takes heart. It's the legendary Canadian Finals Rodeo, powered by ATV. From October 1st to 4th in Edmonton, the nation's best go head-to-head in a battle of pure willpower. Witness the raw strength and adrenaline at Rogers Place. Plus, soak up the Western lifestyle at the Canadian Country Expo with free admission and shuttles running between the expo and the arena. This is more than a rodeo. It's a showdown. Get your tickets now at cfr.ca.
I'm here with Mike, a Ford employee, to hook me up with a deal on a new F-150.
Oh, with Ford employee pricing on now, you don't really need me. You pay what we pay.
So I just get your price?
Yep. Tell them Mike sent you. Or Maria, or Namig.
Ford employee pricing is here, where you pay what Mike pays.
Or Genevieve, or Elise, or Kevy.
Right now, get up to $12,975 in total price adjustments on eligible 2025 F-150 models. For details, visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:40 in Edmonton. Text line 833-401-1440. Craig and Red Deer just texted one in. Morning, guys. Is there going to be a bye week for teams this season with the Olympic break? I think I see the most days off the Oilers have consecutive. I think maybe 3 or 4 max. It could be even 3 if I really go through the schedule quickly. Hey, Duke, on another subject there. What's one of my pet peeves with the CFL and the scheduling, especially here in Edmonton?
Game times,
or game
day time, start times.
And which day would it be?
Well, you hate Thursday and Sunday games.
Yeah, Sunday night games. For the Elks had 2 Sunday night games, correct?
Yeah, like start the year
right off the hop. Well, they had the Thursday night game, which sucked. That was
was it not 2 Sunday home games?
2 Sunday home games in a row
starts.
Right after that. Were 5 p.m. starts here at Commonwealth against Ottawa and BC. Sunday night games. CFL, that's the Elks. 2 Sunday night games. How many Sunday night games do you think the Oilers have? So we're talking 41 home
6.
games. Nope.
3?
3.
Wow.
They have 3 Sunday night home games. And I believe they're like 6 o'clock starts, I think. 1 in December, 1 in January, 1 in March. Vegas, St. Louis, and Nashville. And the one is December 21st. Not sure if they have a game after that at home or whatever. So get rid of the Sunday night games, CFL, please. Time now for Are You In or Out?
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out? In or out? What? No time for questions, just action. In or out? Well, then I'm out. I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke, better.
Edmonton Oilers winners last night in Winnipeg. Like Howard, Hudson, and Anderson, all 58 goals for Bill Harrison in the victory. They'll go at it again tonight, taking on Seattle from Rogers Place. 7 o'clock puck drop for that one. However, off for most of the way from me yesterday, head coach Chris Nowak discussing playing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl together to open the season with the absence of Zach Hyman, at least through the month of October. Trent Frederick looking like he's going to get a look up on that top line. The nuclear option, as it is so affectionately referred to. I actually think Zach Hyman's absence makes this a worse move. To load up the top line with your 2 best players.
The way the question's worded, this isn't the best utilization of the team's forwards with Zach Hyman under the lineup. I'll probably have to go in on it. I think there's so many other options, but again, I don't see it as being.
It's not locked in stone.
Yes.
And we know that, right? It's this all year, every coach on every team shuffles lines. Some guys play together for longer stretches or more than others. But to me, Kevin, the Zach Hyman injury depletes your forward depth. The Oilers have a lot of forwards. Too many, actually, probably, that can play. But how many legitimate top 6 forwards do they have? Hyman is definitely one of them.
Well,
so with him out of the lineup, to then put 2 of your remaining bona fide players on the same line, I think just really shallows out your depth for a line number 2.
I see everyone's arguments here. I see what you're saying too, Duke. And sometimes a coach wants to test guys, and not just sometimes, maybe all the time.
Like push them a little, see what they're capable of.
You're always wanting to see, what do you have left to give that I haven't seen yet? And maybe this is a calling out to all of these guys, like Andrew Mangiapane, like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, like Adam Henrique. And again, if Frederick gets the first nod at right wing with McDavid and Draisaitl, well, this is a calling out to him too. Show me that you never, ever want to come out of that spot. You bang, you get pucks, you do whatever it takes, and that line is so successful, the coach has no choice but to keep them together. And the same thing with if you're going to have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at second C. And I understand about separating these two guys. But this should be one of those things where you say to Nuge, this is your time to show me that you are capable of so much more. So much more. Having said all that, I'm going to go in on your question because I'd rather see them separated than together. But again, I don't see it for being written in stone, as you say.
So Connor McDavid has clearly expressed a desire, and this isn't, I think every player would say that's Dodoy, to have a better start than the team has had the past 2 years, right? So in your mind, Kevin, do you think that overloading the top line gives them a better chance to have a good start out of the gate? Or do you think that it's a matter of what you just said, maybe giving opportunity to some other players to show their mettle and what they're made of in these other roles? Particularly, say, Nuge or another player elevating to play on line number 2 alongside him.
Sometimes I look at Chris Knobloch's math here, and like, as he says, okay, if they play together and play 23, 24 minutes a night, that gives, if they're playing together, that should give other guys more opportunity.
More minutes, because instead of each line playing 24 minutes a night,
that's
and
48, that leaves 12.
Yeah. Not very much time left for the other two groups.
I get his math there, but now you're adding power play time and you're adding everything else in. So,
here's the thing. In a season where they're going to go to the Olympics, the schedule's that much more condensed. Do you want to be playing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl an average of 22, 23 minutes a night?
Here's the other thing too, Duke. And when you look, we talked about the schedule here just with Craig and Red Deer.
Yeah.
So you got to win these first 2 home games. You got to beat Calgary on the home opener. They went 0-3 to start at the home. They had 4 home games last year. You got to beat BC or Vancouver on Saturday night. You got to win these 2 games at home because you're going on the road for the next 5. And maybe it gets separated at that point. Maybe they separate them when they go on the road because of last change, etc., things like that. So I think everyone's getting a little too riled up about Chris Knobloch saying that these 2 guys are going to start the season together. It could last the 8th and the 11th. Calgary and Vancouver, they could be separated by the time they go on the road for the next 5.
Today's NHL preview on the program, stopping in Montreal. We just wrapped up a great chat with John Goyens out in the Bell Province. Based on last year's accomplishments, off-season moves, and maybe a little bit of in-market pressure, I'm not sure there is a single team in the Eastern Conference that has as much to prove this year as the Canadiens.
I'm going to be out on this one, Duke. It's a very good point, but I'm going to say the New York Rangers.
That's a good answer.
Only because of where they were 2 years ago when they won the President's Cup. the President's Trophy, and then missed the playoffs. So to me, that is the team out east that has the most to prove, because with how they're set up, how they're built, star power, etc., everything else, and again, being top dog in the regular season 2 years ago and missing the playoffs by, what did they miss? By 6 points, I guess. They are the team for me that has the most to prove.
I think there's an argument to be made for the Maple Leafs as well. They choose, or I guess maybe it's a mutual, right? Mitch Marner, UFA, decided not to re-sign in Toronto, but he's a guy that's faced a lot of criticism. And I think there's a good contingency of fans and critics, media and whatnot, that said, good riddance to an extent, right? Saying like, you have not performed up to snuff in the playoffs. You're not a playoff type player. You're not a hard player. Now they are a different looking team. They reallocate his $12 million elsewhere and say, all right, we're a better team now overall because we're not as top heavy anymore. I think that comes with a lot of expectations and things to prove. Obviously, it's Toronto. The expectations are through the roof regardless. But like Montreal, they go out and get Dobson, right? That's the big splash. Yeah. You have Demidov for the full season, and this is coming off a year where you did surprise a lot of people and made the playoffs, and bowed out semi-meekly, I think, in the first round, which was to be expected. Not many people gave them a fighter's chance against the Capitals, right? If my memory serves me correctly. Yep. So there's a lot of good options. Even a team like Detroit, when are they finally going to get over that hump? The Sens finally did, right? In the playoffs. The Habs did. They made the playoffs. Sabres, Red Wings, they're still kind of toiling down there in the basement of the conference.
Another team, when you look at the success they've had, but now they're just missing something, is Boston. If you think about it, if you want to put them in the
I think Boston's just stuck in a mushy middle right now. Like, they still have some really high-end players, McAvoy, Pasternak, Swayman when he's actually at his best, but
they finished behind Buffalo.
They don't look anything near, to me, like a playoff team, let alone a team that could make noise.
Well, they got something to prove this year.
Very much so. Switching gears over to the NFL, yesterday, the New York Giants announced that they are moving to first-round pick Jackson Dart as the team's new QB1, benching Russell Wilson in the process. It's a tough spot to be put in if you're Jackson Dart. Tough opponent, tough upcoming schedule. Maybe save the Saints here in what's scheduled to be his second appearance as the starter. I think Dart's performance, and I mean like tangible results, not hollow victories, legitimate performance to show he is a starting quarterback. The future, the jobs of both Brian Daboll and general manager Joe Shane hinge entirely on this young man's shoulders.
Well, normally what happens, the GM fires the coach to save his job.
But here's the thing. I could see ownership coming in and firing both at the same time. Shane hired Daboll. Like, they came in at the exact same time. They've been attached to the hip. Both came from Buffalo in the process, right? So I think that the one's fate is the other's here.
You know what? I'm going to be out on this one only because of we've seen so many quarterbacks get thrown to the wolves, and then they don't perform as expected in the early going, and it just takes them a little more time. So I'm going to go out, and I'll say and the schedule's a killer. You mentioned it. We talked about it, off the top of the show with Charlotte Carroll. The schedule's a killer. I mean, when you got the Chargers, I bet the Giants are hoping that they could play New Orleans this week instead of the Chargers. But then you got Philadelphia, you got Denver, you got Philadelphia again. It's just unbelievable. So I would think that the management ownership would take that into consideration and not exactly look at what a young quarterback's going to be doing in his first couple of starts, and take that to where you make massive sweeping changes. But it wouldn't surprise me if it did.
Because the GM and the coach, they have to think we're together on this in the first round, right? Trading back in and saying, this is the guy. A lot of other quarterbacks were still on the board at this time, right? Cam Ward, the only one, had been taken first overall. They penned it. Like, this is the guy that's going to save our jobs, turn the franchise around. They gave him a couple weeks to learn.
You know the draft more than me. And when we had Charlotte on, and yes, Carter and what's the fourth guy? The fourth, third round. Scatterbo was the 4th round pick.
Yeah.
D lineman, it's escaping me.
Yeah.
4 of their picks in game 4 of their draft year are going to be playing and hopefully contributing.
Darius Alexander
Darius
at the
Alexander,
tackle.
thanks. Yeah, thanks. Like, think about that, Duke. What team has ever had this right off 4 games in, and you are hoping that your top 4 picks are going to contribute immensely to your success 4 games into their draft year?
Ryder Cup, going to tee it up here coming up in the 10 o'clock hour with our good friend Keith Stewart from Read the Line. Getting underway later this week, Friday, officially kicking off from Bethpage Black out on the East Coast. Prediction time. Before things get going, I didn't want to have a golf question tomorrow when we have Laddie, and I figured he'd blow his top. So we'll get it out of the way today. I'm taking the underdogs. I'm taking Team Europe. 5 straight events. The host country, or host team, I should say, has emerged victorious. Last time Europe won in Illinois in 2012. I think they bucked that trend, and Europe takes it from Long Island. They're currently going off
what's the odds?
I had them here in front of me, but I changed my tabs. Give me a moment.
Well, Keith will have them too. Like
Ryder
of
Cup.
them.
Currently, Europe plus 175 to win. USA minus 150 as the home favorites.
Man,
to get a tie, Kevin.
Yeah,
plus 1,200.
Yikes. We discussed this last week that Captain Luke Donald, assuming that he's going to run out the same 4 pairs to start things, because they were 7-1. I guess in the last would be the first day of the foursomes, right? And then the tack on the next 4 matches. I like the way the Europeans played as a team together way more, right? And just more. The Americans to me are just so me. Having said that, I think it changes when you play on home soil.
It should be a pretty raucous crowd.
It's going to be insane. I'm going to go the other way around just so we can have another little.
Well, we know where Laddie will come out on this tomorrow, despite not giving a lick about the golf.
Yeah,
he'll
still one of
he'll
my
champion me for supporting the Euros rather than our southern neighbors.
I'll go the other way around. I'll say the Americans are going to win this, and a lot will have to do with the momentum that they can pick up from the crowd, and I'm expecting. Scotty Scheffler's just been brutal, His numbers aren't there.
He's no good.
Yeah, but he's got to come around at some point, you would think. So I'll say that'll be the tipping point for me. He finally finds a way, gets on track when it comes to a team competition.
Finally, today, National Punctuation Day. Something that is often top of mind for me, depending on time of year, because as I try and steer our young interns, young new employees, going all the way back to our first being Donovan Paulson, who punctuation, spelling, not a strong suit.
How did he get into college?
Good question. Well, this is, and I mean this with the most due respect to Nate as a institution. I went there, proud graduate. The standards aren't necessarily the highest in that regard. I will say, I'll take anyone. No,
wow. I'm looking to my right and I see that.
What do you mean? I'm a scholar. These two can't say the same for Sam and Josh.
Yeah.
Punctuation and spelling continue to be a focal point of our learning process. However, when overused, the most frustrating, infuriating form of punctuation when you're reading something, it's the overuse of the comma.
Overuse of the comma. Okay.
I hate it.
So
I'm an Oxford comma guy. I will die on the hill for the Oxford comma, but just end a sentence and start a new one. You don't need commas, 9 commas in a sentence.
The run-on sentence, Duke.
Well, sometimes those don't have commas because the absence of commas is also bad.
Yeah.
But I think the overuse is actually worse.
I hope my mom is still listening after her.
Was she a teacher, wasn't she?
Yes, she was a teacher. Yeah. So she's very into grammar, like just always
and aficionado.
We read a lot as kids, and our writing was that was the most important things. Just the basics, right? Just make sure. Yeah, and I'm waiting for the text from MTR here already. I don't even have the text.
I didn't know you could read.
Yeah, I don't even have it in. But I'm going to throw this at you, Duke, and I'm going to be out. And the reason why I'm going to be out is of how our society technology has gone in the last several years. Because how often do you phone a person? You're more texting them, right? You
today. Oh, for sure.
Text,
these days,
text. Now I'm going to be going with the Elaine Bennis.
I knew you were
route.
going to say this.
And it is going to be the exclamation point. And everyone knows about the note that was left. And she said, I believe it was some
They had
friend
the
of hers
baby.
was pregnant.
I thought they had the baby.
Whatever. Pregnant baby.
Either
and
way.
it was her boyfriend.
Buddy.
And she said, how come you didn't write an exclamation mark down? He goes, well,
Isn't it exciting?
yeah. Well, I like to use my exclamation marks. A little
Sparingly.
different, yeah. So I will say that is it for me, because even when I'm texting, I always think, okay, if I don't put an exclamation,
It kind of
point,
makes you come across
going-
as you're being like passive aggressive or
yes.
something.
So I want the person that reads it to feel a little more that I'm not aggressive,
Right.
a little more at home.
Right. And so I can really relate to this, texting writers, broadcasters
Yes.
from across the continent about coming on the show, right? To guest with us. It is such a fine line about like, I try and limit it to one exclamation point per text to say like,
I'm the same way,
to say
dude.
like, hey, we'd love to have you on. We're excited about it. But then if you put an exclamation point at the end of every sentence, they're kind of like, all right, enough already.
Yeah.
Enough already.
Because you're overusing them.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't. So the overuse of an exclamation point, I think, does register second for me. But I had this English teacher at the U of A, not even Nate, great English teacher at Nate too. Shout out Sylvana. But she really drove home about when she was editing our papers and stuff about how, like, you do not need a comma here. Like, it is unnecessary. Axe this comma. And it really stuck with me moving forward. Because I was a first year class. It was my first year of school. And ever since then, I'm a bit of a stickler. I think the interns, both past and present, can relate to that when I'm reading their updates or when they're typing descriptions for podcast episodes, I'm always like, you don't need that comma. Axe that comma. Axe that comma.
The other thing too, Duke, writing and broadcasting and normal other writing, it's different.
It is.
It's one sentence, one thought, and it's way different when you write copy for if you're writing a newscast or an update like you're doing. But like, let's just say if you were working at a TV station and you were writing copy for an anchor, well, that's way different, and you are 100% right, because they just want one sentence, bang, and then you're on to the next sentence thought moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's how, because once you start rambling on, and if you're an anchor, and here's the other thing, when you are looking at a teleprompter, holy moly.
You don't really know when the end's coming. You're just like, oh boy.
And the other thing too, that prompters have not changed, but if you say you do ... and you start another word or something like that, if you were to write that, the teleprompter doesn't recognize that and then makes one big long word. So if you're reading a teleprompter, it's like watching movie credits roll.
Right.
So you're only watching like 3-4 words per line, max, maybe sometimes one, sometimes two. So you have to kind of be careful of how it's a totally different
form of writing.
Yeah, but it's a different, like if you read a teleprompter compared to reading copy that you have down on your desk, it's way different.
Final note on this, just because you mentioned it, the ... the ellipses. Is it just standard practice that once you reach a certain age, you just put that at the end of every sentence in your text messages? Because my mom does this, and there's no reason. It's like, seems like she's like leading into something else, but that's just how she ends sentences, is ellipses.
I don't know.
And you don't do it, and you're about the same age as you're a handful of years younger than my parents, but I just wonder, like, is it at a certain point?
No, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, so I'd like the texters to chime in on that. Either their parents, grandparents, if they're around that age that they do that, or they know people that do it, because it's so curious. I don't understand why.
And MTR did text in, obviously. And you know what? All these mean texts that MTR sends to me about my education or lack thereof, or whatever you want to call it, this will come back to haunt him. It will come back.
Good.
It will come back. And you're going to go, oh, I should have been nicer. When we come back, we're going to have a little interview that I did with Cody Fajardo yesterday, maybe Jake Julian as well. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers preseason continuing tonight against the Kraken at 7 p.m. in Rogers Place. Other NHL action on tonight as the Panthers head to Carolina to face off against the Hurricanes. The Blue Jackets hosting the Penguins out in Columbus. And the Flames taking on Vancouver, going off against the Canucks. The Blue Jays look to hold their lead tonight against the Red Sox with Max Scherzer taking the mound at 5:07 p.m. Elsewhere in the majors, the Yankees looking to tie with the Jays. They continue their series with the White Sox. The Guardians taking on Detroit in a match for the lead in the AL Central. And the Mariners hosting the Rockies. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, we've got Keith Stewart joining us to discuss the Ryder Cup. And this has been Sam Wilness with your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order? Yeah, can I get a... yes. A common reaction from a veggie lover. Always scanning, searching, longing. But wait, what is this we see? The new McVeggie. Now at McDonald's.
Are you relying on credit cards to make ends meet? Are you making just the minimum payment and carrying a balance month after month? It's time to break free from the debt spiral and take control of your finances. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. During a free consultation, I can explain all your debt relief options and stop your credit card bills from piling up. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
The bad news, winter will be here in a flash. But the really good news, right now during the Nissan Flash Sale, you can get a set of free winter tires. You might just look forward to winter coming back, and you still get 0% financing and $500 Nissan bonus. September 23rd to 27th only. Act fast. This flash won't last. See your local Nissan dealer or Nissan.ca for details. Offer available on select 2025 models. Conditions apply.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
Welcome back to the big program. 10:08 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius with you, Duke of Delburne. Also got Sam the intern running the board, Josh Fenwick running the show on YouTube and X. It took me a couple of seconds to figure out this text from Oddball, but I got it. And I don't know if you've ever heard it when he was doing a broadcast, Duke, but it is quite funny. Oddball texts in because Duke, his question for in or out was the usage or too much usage of commas, and Oddball texted in and all he said was, so he's got murder, comma, she wrote, and then he has Pat Summerall. So Pat Summerall said this, when they were doing CBS games on Sunday, there was one broadcast. Maybe he did it more than once. I think he did it actually more than once. But when they would do, coming up on the West Coast, the regular programming and, they say 60 minutes and all that stuff. But Pat Summerall would go, murder, she wrote. Because in the title on that you would see with Angela Lansbury was the comment in there. I think who would laugh at this one would be Low Tide. Yeah, murder sure. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I got a picture. I golfed with a guy named Mike in our group on Sunday, who looks exactly like Low Tide about 20 years ago, maybe a little bit more, 30. So I took a picture and I'm going to send it out and just congratulate Tide on his nuptials. I'll say congratulations, and I'll bet people think that they look alike. I'll see what you think. Yesterday I was down at the Commonwealth Stadium discussing new rule changes with members of the Elks manager. We heard Ed Hervey on the show earlier in the program. Also discussed it with Cody Fajardo, the quarterback, and he had some great comments and he actually wants some rights made moving forward because he has the most famous doink when it comes to throwing a pass in the end zone, which happened, 6 years ago when he was in Saskatchewan in the playoffs. So he wants a little love moving forward on that. Here's that conversation.
Sure, you've been asked this about 30 times in the last day or so, but a lot of rule changes coming into effect. It's down the road. We're looking at a year and some, but just your overall thoughts, what you heard yesterday.
Yeah, I think the initial changes are going to be good. Like, same sidelines always created a lot of penalties. It's created a lot of things in this league that I think have given it a bad image. So separate sideline, I think that's a good change. The tweak to the Rouge is, I don't know any other professional sport that you can be rewarded for failing. And so I've always kind of wanted that rule to be changed. I'm glad that they haven't got rid of the Rouge, but I find a way to kind of modify it. And then, I'm petitioning to get the goalpost one named the Cody Fajardo rule. At least I'll go out with some sort of legacy with that one. I feel like I've been reliving 2019 with all these damn clips I've been watching. So that's the only thing I've been pissed off about with these new rule changes is watching that play over and over again.
Yeah, 6 years ago, maybe just run us through because, that's the doink. And then the next shot is of you just kind of looking in the turf going, man, oh, man.
Yeah, I've talked about it before. I think the hardest thing about that is there's no closure. Like, if I would have thrown the ball, it would have been picked, incomplete, complete, whatever the outcome is, at least there's some sort of closure because you got to see it with your own eyes. On that one, it's a what if story, and if the goalpost wasn't there, what would have happened? And nobody truly knows. So it's just going to be nice to know that in the future that's not going to be an issue and not have to be an issue in some of these big football games. But the only bad thing about that is that play is going to live in infamy for the rest of the CFL, as everyone's going to talk about how there used to be goalposts in the front of the end zone and how 2019 happened. And so I'm going to have to go out in the blaze of glory with that one.
How do we get this petition going then?
Yeah, I'm going to start it here with you, and hopefully we can get some people to sign off on it. Like I said, that'll be one hell of a legacy I can leave if I can create a new rule and getting these goalposts moved in the back.
That's cool. What about even, say, when you're on your 1 or 2 yard line? Because when you're dropping back, you're always in the back of your mind now.
Yeah, that's funny because everybody wants to talk about red zone and how it's going to change red zone and attacking the middle part of the field. But I think the biggest benefit to an offense is being able to use the entire field when you're backed up on your 1 or 2 yard line. I know we did a huge study with Coach Moss about how far out could we be to throw the ball to the field if we had to throw the ball. And usually it was about the 4.5 yard line with a 3-step drop. And so a lot of coordinators, when you're backed up, you can only call things that attack the boundary part of the field. So this will open up your whole playbook. And I think that's something that's kind of getting underlooked is everyone wants to talk about the red zone difference. I think backed up difference will be a little bit easier on offenses to be able to use the whole field and get yourself out of a bad situation.
That's a good point because, again, you're designing and calling plays that is hindering you on that, whether it be a 3, 4, 5-step drop.
Yeah, and like we can't call a 5-step drop inside the 5. And usually your shot plays when you are backed up, people like to take shots because it's a huge momentum swing if you're able to throw a ball down the field. But you rarely can throw a 5-step unless you're throwing to the boundary. That's the only time you're going to do a 5-step. So this is going to make the defenses play more honest when you're backed up. They're going to have to play the whole field. I'll look on tape, and sometimes the field corners and DBs aren't even paying attention because they just know that it's hard to throw that ball with a huge iron cross in your way. So I think that's what's going to benefit the most. I think the red zone numbers will go up, but also when they shrink the end zone, it's going to be a little bit tougher because we're used to hitting a lot of the touchdowns in the back portion of the end zone, a lot of scrambles where you throw it in the back portion of the end zone. So it's a reason why the NFL has made it so difficult to score touchdowns, that 10-yard end zone. So I think moving it to 15, we're going to still have that CFL luxury of a little bit bigger end zone, but also it's going to be a little bit harder to game plan for knowing that you have 5 yards technically less of working space.
What about gambling? 3rd and whatever. Say it's 3rd and 2. You're on the 35-yard line. You're probably going to go for it. But if it's 3rd and 10, now you're risking too much stuff. Just maybe speak to that element.
Yeah, I think kickers, punters in particular are going to have to be more coffin corner guys. You're going to have to pin guys down deep. You're not going to want to put it in the end zone. I think one thing that we have to think about is the starting field position as well. If you're going to shrink the field to 100 yards and they make a field goal and you start on the 40-yard line, like that's a big chunk of change for an offense to come out on a 100-yard field already on the 40-yard line. So nobody's talked about that, which has been interesting. But in terms of red zone, I think it's going to create some more aggressive play calls by coordinators. But the kickers nowadays, these guys make 50-yarders look like nothing. And so I don't see that changing too much. I think kickers are still going to kick, but there is going to be a situation where if you are missing field goals and you're getting the ball at the 50-yard line, that's a couple first downs away from being in scoring range.
And what about the consistency of that 35-second clock moving forward?
Yeah, I think my only concern about that is the 3 minutes. And I think if you were to strip down the CFL game, the best part of it is the 3-minute finish. I hate turning on the NFL and watching 2 minutes on the clock and a team knee it out in a one-possession game. But in the CFL, I've seen teams come back from down 20 points. So there's got to be there. I know that they're still working on that. That's my only concern. I think getting it called in the 35 seconds not going to be a big issue. I think we're already somewhere around that 35 seconds. But the biggest thing is, you run a play or you even take a knee. By the time they spot the ball, there's 34, 33, 32 seconds. You can milk an extra 10, 12 seconds off the clock that you normally couldn't do. So that's going to be the interesting thing is how moving forward. And I know that's not happening until next year. So they're going to have to really talk about how we cannot affect the 3-minute CFL game, because in my opinion, that is what makes the CFL such a special game, is how games finish in that last 3 minutes.
And one last one, just Saskatchewan on Saturday here.
Great football team. We're backs against the wall. We got to find a way to beat a very good football team that's number 1 in the West. And this is a playoff game for us. So we're going to feel it. We're going to feel like if we lose this game, it's over for us. And so that's the mentality we got to go into this one, is fight, scratch, claw, anything we can to find ourselves a win. The thing is, we got 4 Western opponents. So these are not 2-point games. They're 4-point games. We're getting 2 points ourselves with the win, and we're blocking them from gaining any 2 points. So these are big football games, and we're going to have to find a way to come out after 2 gutted losses to be competitive against a very good team coming off the bye.
Thanks, Cody. Good luck against the Riders.
Conversation had yesterday with Cody Fajardo, Edmonton Elks quarterback. He's right. Their next games are against West Division opponents. The hole is just so big. They need a favor from Hamilton to beat Winnipeg this week. I don't know what it is, but I have a feeling that the Elks are going to beat Saskatchewan on Saturday night. I don't know what it is, but I just have that feeling that maybe the Riders will be looking a little bit past. It's going to be electric in there. I gotta, if I'm going to lay something down here, I think I'm going to take Saskatchewan and Edmonton in that game. I'm going to take the Elks to win that game. Eddie's going to be blown away by that comment on Friday. When we come back, we're going to talk PGA golf with Keith Stewart from Read the Line. Ryder Cup gets underway on Friday. The pairings will be announced tomorrow. That's coming up right after the break. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440. We're streaming on YouTube and X.
At Cougar Paint and Collision, it's not just about getting the job done. It's about comfort and connection.
We really are a huge family brought together by crappy situations. Lots of times people had a really bad day and end up sitting and talking with my dad for 30 minutes. My mom brings out her dog. I would say 99% of the people that walk into the shop say, wow, this doesn't look like a body shop. It's a really cool and relaxing place to be when you've had kind of a crappy situation happen to you.
Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
Edmonton Elks Indigenous Celebration is back, presented by No Frills. September 27th versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders, featuring Indigenous dance and drum halftime performances, pre-game makers market, and the unveiling of our brand new Indigenous gear. Tickets at goelks.com.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal. Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
From the first face-off to the final whistle, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk with live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows. We bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7 only on Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports station.
Wing Wednesday at First Round. Whether you're coming for the first round, the last round, or a few rounds in between, they've got you covered with half-price wings every Wednesday night. Half-price wings. Over 35 delicious flavors like Cajun salt and pepper, maple bacon, and Inferno wings, now half price every Wednesday night. Wash them down with a cold pint of Canadian or Coors Light for only $5.75. Half price Wing Wednesday in First Round in West End, now downtown. First Round, burgers, beer, sports.
Mortgage payments, family events, a new car. That's what profit shares look like for Ocean Credit Union members. Each year, return 70% profits, $35 million last year to us. Vision Union owner. Learn how. That's
The Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 1021 in Edmonton. And again, unfortunately, David Schlemko couldn't make her today, but he's powered by Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family for over 40 years. Check him out at cougarcollision.com. Time now for the game of the day, which is technically the game of the week and weekend with the Ryder Cup coming up. It's brought to you by St. Albert Dodge. The biggest sale of the year is on right now. Our in-stock Ram 1500 Sports, all discounted by a whopping $14,000, over 90 to choose from, including the Night Edition and GT models, only at stalbertdodge.com. As we welcome back our old buddy Keith Stewart from Read the Line. Morning, Keith. You're with Kevin Karius on Sports 1440. Thanks for jumping on the big show this morning. Really appreciate it.
Kevin, good morning to you all out there. And I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, to start out and find out that Schlemmer's not there for us to go toe to toe. I've been waiting 2 years since Rome to take him on.
Oh, that's so good. Good stuff, Keith. So how's Beth Page Black treating you? What's it like there? Set us the scene for us.
I mean, I'm not sure if in this day and age I'm allowed to say this, but the place is a ticking time bomb. I mean, everyone's not waiting for college started. It is absolutely it's about to come unhinged. The fans have been very supportive of both sides in their practice round, and they have been out here in mass. And there's been just so many people. And we're still 2 days away from golf actually starting. So it's been really kind of a special event. You know, golf in New York City, it's been a little bit, the crowds here have been a little bit, golf starved. We haven't seen a major championship or a golf event of this nature since the 2020 U.S. Open at Wingfoot. And that was during COVID. So really it goes back to Bethpage right here to the 2019 PGA Championship, which was won by Brooks Koepka.
Mm-hmm. Are those fans going to be able to keep it on the rails here, Keith? Because that would be just great if they can, just be respectful, but cheer and do everything. What's it going to be like, do you think?
I think it's, I was going to ask Dave this. I said, what's one of the most, what's one of the craziest arenas that you ever played in on the road? Because I think that's what's going to feel like for the Europeans. I do think overall there's been a lot of talk about things getting out of control. I think it's going to walk a very fine line. I think everyone is going to be behaved enough. I think that it's going to be a very, very special event. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that we haven't had a close one of these in over a decade. So I think everyone is really, wants to see both sides perform to their best. So I don't think things are going to get out of control, but I think it's going to be really, really, really loud.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Keith, if Dave were here, Schlemmer were here, I think he would probably say, which is funny, it's New York, he would probably say Madison Square Garden when he was playing for the New Jersey Devils, because that was a good rivalry and they would have been crazy in there. So I think that's what he would say. Pairings tomorrow, Keith. Is there anything that's going to catch some people by surprise? Are you looking forward to someone being announced maybe together that maybe you wouldn't have thought would be? And maybe I'll wait till you answer that before I ask you about Luke Donald going back to 2023 and what he's going to do for this year around.
Well, I think from a surprise perspective, I think if any of the big names don't play tomorrow morning, then that means they can't play 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So for some strange reason, we don't see Bryson's name call tomorrow afternoon on Thursday when Captain Donald and Captain Bradley announce all the foursomes pairings for Friday morning. Or, Scotty's got to be there, but if there's somebody like a Patrick Cantlay or a Victor Hovland, a name like that, or a John Rahm doesn't come up in those initial pairings, then that means those guys can't play 5 times. And I think this is going to be one of those Ryder Cups where each team is very, very strong at the top. And at the bottom, can the bench, can the rookies, can the guys that aren't nearly the top 10 player in the world caliber, can those guys help carry a half point here, a point there? I think that's really what it's going to come down to. I think this is going to be awfully close. And I think that the captains should rely on guys 5 times, and it'll be interesting. That's one of the things I'm most interested about. I want to see the U.S. side roll out Bryson 5 times and not say like, oh, well, he's not very good at alternate shot because he plays a different game. I don't want to hear any of that. I want to see us take our best players and roll them out there and play them.
Yeah. When you look at 2023, Luke Donald has the affordability to roll out the same guys to start things off in foursomes, as you know, and they were very successful. Does he just go, I'm going to go with the same guys that I had? What do you think there?
I don't think he does at all.
Okay.
I think maybe 1, possibly 2 might be the same. But to be honest with you, Kevin, it's a different golf course. You look at the last 5 Ryder Cups, and the home team has won by an average of 6.6 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. Winning by 7 on average, that means it's not even close. This isn't like, if Dave was here, we would talk about, the ice is all the same size. The rink is always the same size. The goals are the same size.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the way you can change the setup of the golf course, and that really, really helps the team. Luke did it in Rome. He took away all of our superpowers. He made us play the way that they wanted to play on their side, which was taking wedges and scoring irons out of our hands, use a lot of long iron shots. And they've got guys like Terrell Hatton, Victor Hovland, John Rahm, and Rory McIlroy, some of the best long iron players in the world. And you can see what happened. Imagine taking a football field that's normally 100 by 50, and then you say, oh, well, when you come here to New York and you play the Giants, we make the field in different dimensions, right? That's what you can do here at Bethpage, and that's what they did in Rome. So I think it's really important that as they put the pairings together and everything with a different golf course, I don't think Luke Donald would do the exact same thing. I think you're going to see some changes.
Mm-hmm. Keith Stewart from Read the Line, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. What's the rough like there? I've heard of some things here, Keith, where it's a little bit lower than years past. Would you say that?
About 8 weeks ago, I played the golf course, Kevin, and there was 2 things I noticed. They widened the fairways in a lot of areas, which is different than the 2019 PGA Championship. And definitely when I showed up this week, that the rough is lower than what you would think. Now, what does that tell us about the golf course and how these teams are going to attack it? Well, number one, with wider fairways, there's a lot of fairway bunkers here. Mm-hmm. They're deep, they're cavernous, they're trouble, they're treacherous, right? So by taking the rough that goes in between the fairways and those bunkers, now it's fairway grass. some balls might roll out into those bunkers, and they're going to become more in play. If you hit it really offline and you get out in the rough, then they want these guys to be able to score. They want this to be a made-for-TV event. And to be quite honest, if you look at the scoring potential of both teams, the Americans are better at going low than the Europeans are from 1 through 12 on the team roster. So the Americans want to make the golf course short. They want to make the golf course easier because we tend to score more than their team does as a whole. And I think that that's really what.
Oh, I think we might have just lost Keith. Duke will try to find him again here. We just lost Keith Stewart from Read the Line. We'll try to get Keith back on the horn here right away. When you look at, again, he said the rough's lower, the fairways wider. I don't know who that helps, but we'll try to get Keith back going here. How are we making out, Duke? Have we got Keith back on? Keith, can you hear me?
I can, Kevin.
Perfect.
I'm here.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. We must have just had a misconnection there.
That's okay. No truth to the rumor. The Europeans are blocking our signal right now.
Yeah, I'm going to get to your picks and what you think with odds and everything like that. But who would you say on each team has the most pressure? Is it easy to say that it's, that it's Scotty Scheffler for the U.S. side, and is it easy to say that it's Rory McIlroy for the Europeans? What do you think there?
I think it's easy to say for Rory. I think Rory has taken the mantle and wants to be the emotional target of the New York fan base and the American fan base. And I think he's doing that to deflect attention away from Tommy and John Rahm and everyone else that's on his team. And I think he's willing to embrace kind of, all of that fodder. And I think on the other side, I think I see Bryson doing the same thing. I see Bryson taking on the crowds. And, what that does is it says you have to play well. If you're engaging the crowd on a Monday practice round, on a Tuesday practice round, Wednesday practice round, and you want to be the star of the show, well, then you better show up. Scotty doesn't really engage with crowds like that. So although he's number one and there's a lot of pressure on him to win, I think the two emotional leaders of these teams, Bryson and Rory, have the most pressure to perform.
I know you love hockey, Keith, and that's why I'm going to go with JJ Spawn, because it was like 10 years ago when he won the Stahl family event on the Canadian Tour in Thunder Bay, and that really got his career going. And what kind of role do you think a guy like JJ Spawn is going to play for the American side here?
JJ Spawn, as a ball striker, we saw it at Oakmont, is incredible. And he is the perfect style of player for foursomes, which is your alternate shot format. JJ plays, he keeps the ball in play off the tee. That's why he won a U.S. Open, and he is a solid putter. I mean, he is the perfect partner to go out with somebody like a steady guy like a Harris English or a Colin Morikawa or even a Scotty Scheffler for that matter. Like, he is the type of guy that's always going to put you in the fairway, and then you put him in the fairway, he's going to put you on the green and allow you to make a putt. I think he'll play probably 3 times. I think he'll play in both alternate shot sessions, and obviously he'll play Sunday singles.
What about on the other side, where a guy like Robert McIntyre won the Canadian Open, and a lot of Canadian golf fans know his story. Is he a guy that can step up a little bit? He wasn't bad in Rome. There's no denying that, but can he take it to another level here, Keith?
Yeah, I mean, his record in Rome was, 2-0-1,
Yeah.
So he didn't lose any matches. I think Robert McIntyre, being the one lefty in the field, has an opportunity to be a little bit of their secret sauce over there. He could be a secret weapon for Captain Luke Donald. And here's why I say that. When you look at the setup and the makeup and the design of the golf course, all of the odd holes favor a left to right ball flight, which is for all the right-handed guys, which there's 23 of them here. For them, that's a fade off the tee. Now, the even holes, they favor a draw or a right to left ball flight for those right-handed guys. That's a fade for Robert McIntyre. I think he can attack some of these even holes in a way that is, none of the guys in the field can, because it's easier to talk to a fade than it is a draw. And I think that he could set himself up for a lot of very good scoring. It's obvious that after the BMW Championship in August, he's ready for some confrontation. He's played well in the major championships. The guy's got 2 wins on the PGA Tour since Rome. Everyone was questioning what he was doing there in Rome. He goes 2-0-1. He's won 2 PGA Tour events. He's had top 10s in major championships this season alone, this summer. I think Robert McIntyre, playing from the left side and the way it fits this golf course, I think we're going to see him have the opportunity to be able to score a lot of points for the European side.
Keith Stewart from Read the Line, our guest on Sports 1440. All right, let's get to the brass tacks here, Keith. Is there individually, before we get to what you think is going to happen team-wise and what you're looking at, individually, is there a record where you think that one golfer, I'm going to throw something down here, I'm going to have a little sprinkle here? Who are you liking?
Okay, so I'm going to do a quick PSA. All of the bets that are most points or most times, most matches played, or any of those, anything that's subjective to the captain's choices, I would stay away from those. Okay. If you want to go after a player, so go for the over-unders. Try to look, and I think there's a couple edges here. I look at somebody like Ben Griffin, who you got to get over 1.5 points, 1.5 being the tie, right? I want to bet him at -110. It's even money because it looks like he's going to play 4-ball with Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, playing with one of the best players in the world. You got Ben Griffin. We know he's one of our best players in recent form. He was just second at the Pro Tour, had a good chance to be in a playoff with the world's #1 Scotty Scheffler. Another guy that I like in that mode, 2 points, Sam Burns. I like him for the over, and you could get plus money on that at +100. Sam Burns has been playing since the Pro Tour with Patrick Cantlay. It looks like those two are going to play a lot of golf together, and the truth is they complement each other perfectly for the design of the black horse. There's 2 individual ones.
Just lost him again there, boys. I don't know what happened, but just right when he was doing all the bets too, Duke. Keith, yeah, we got you now, Keith. We got you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm here. I mean, I'm sure there's a few cell phones here.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So stay away from those captain's choices.
Mm-hmm.
Look at those session winners. I think the U.S. starts out well early on Friday morning to win that session. It's +125. I mean, those, who wins by the day, who wins by the session, and then over-under on points is a better choice than trying to figure out what all those captains are going to do.
All right, Keith, who's going to take the Ryder Cup? The Europeans or the Americans? And have you got a score?
I'm going to go with Team USA. I'm going to lay the money. I'm going to go with Team USA. I think that the home course and the crowds and the fact, and here's why. When Captain Keegan decided to not pick himself, then I knew he was going to take in a bunch of analytics in order to build his team out, which historically the U.S. team has not done. I think that gives us an edge in a lot of different ways. And we have the world's #1, Scotty Scheffler, who is far and above the best golfer in the world. I think the final score is very tight. On Sunday, some of the NFL fans are going to be upset because they're going to have to watch some of the golf. I'm going to give it 15-13 USA.
Okay, 15-13 USA. I'll tell you what, if Laddie Schmid were here like he was 2 years ago with you on that time when he said, I don't want to talk about this, and then you and Laddie had an amazing back and forth. I thought it was just fabulous radio. So too bad he wasn't here to defend his Europeans, his Czech guys, everything over there.
Well, you know what? I know he's ducking me, but 2 years from now, you don't let him call in sick, okay?
Okay, yeah. All right. Sounds good, Keith. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the captain's picks tomorrow. And then when we get going for foursomes on Friday, hey, would they ever just change it and call it alternate shot instead of foursomes? I think it confuses people.
I mean, golf, love it or hate it, it's all about tradition. Yeah. So good luck with that one.
I know, no kidding. Thanks, Keith. Talk soon, man.
I love being with y'all, and you know what? This last big event of the year, so I'll see you at the Masters.
Yeah, you betcha. Appreciate it. That's Keith Stewart from Read the Line. He likes Europeans to lose to the Americans, 15-13. I'm going to even go, and I already said this in or out, I'm going to go with the Americans winning 14.5 to 13.5. So just a little tighter margin. That was the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the 2025 Jeep Wranglers, the 1500s, they got 0% financing for up to 72 months. Check them out at stalbertdodge.com. I think a lot of our listeners are not agreeing with Keith or myself. Playbook Vic says, not a chance, he says. Absolute embarrassment coming for the Americans at the Ryder Cup. When we come back, we'll wrap the show up. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440. We're streaming on YouTube and X.
Edmonton Elks Indigenous Celebration is back, presented by No Frills. September 27th versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders, featuring Indigenous dance and drum halftime performances, pre-game makers market, and the unveiling of our brand new Indigenous gear. Tickets at goelks.com.
Cougar Paint and Collision's Gord knows that pride in your work isn't just generational.
I started working at Cougar Paint Collision full-time at about 19. Sweeping the floor, washing cars, moving cars, emptying the garbages. It was good. If you're going to try and run the place one day, you got to start at the bottom. I don't really know what I would be doing with my life if my dad didn't have Cougar Paint and Collision. It's been a really good ride. I'm very proud to be a part of it, you know.
Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
Blue Jays fans, this weekend and every weekend, you can catch Toronto Blue Jays ball games right here on Sports 1440. Ben Schulman provides the play-by-play. You provide the chips and beer. Check out the Blue Jays this weekend on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
At Fountain Tire, you can save $50 off tire storage with the purchase of 4 select tires now until September 30th at participating locations. Okay. Or you could squeeze them into your backseat, possibly causing upholstery damage, drive them home, struggle, sweating buckets trying to get them out of your vehicle, resulting in you feeling guilty for not going to the gym more often, or at all. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. Totally up to you.
Definitely $50 off the tire storage.
You got it. Book your appointment today at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Shop the Fall Big Red Sale at Canadian Tire and save up to 50% on select seasonal must-haves until September 25th. Conditions and exclusions apply.
Imagine a busy classroom. Now imagine it if no one was willing to teach. Here's the reality. It's getting harder to keep teachers in the profession and to attract new people to an increasingly challenging job. Pay for teachers has fallen far behind inflation and cost of living. With fair wages, we can keep the ones we have and hire more. But we need the provincial government to step up. Because a fair deal for teachers is a good deal for kids. A message from the Alberta Teachers Association. Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 1041 in Edmonton. Sam, the record man on the board. That's a real banger to get the show off and running here for the final segment, Sam. Hey, what do you think of that? You like that song or something, or
It's
what?
a great song.
Yeah.
I don't see what's so funny about it.
Well, I think the Duke's giving it a chuckle. I see Josh is giving it a chuckle. I don't know. It's sort of like a little, I don't know. It's like, 4 guys sitting around a room here. I'm kind of going, let's get her going here, So how about this? Brian Dable from Adam Schefter reporting that the Giants intend to start Jackson Dart the rest of the season. Russell Wilson will back him up. Which you kind of go, well, then why wouldn't you trade like Russell Wilson or even Jameis Winston? Duke brought that up to the old Cincinnati Bengals, and Duke mentioned that a while back. I mean, I'm sure, I think the Bengals would have a fair bit of interest in even Russell Wilson. I think they would. I don't know. But you kind of go, well, if that's the case, I think you're not managing an asset. And you're not getting anything for him. But I don't know. Send him on his way. Oh, what else? Oh, yeah. So tonight, the Oilers, I'm just looking at, they're just on the ice for the morning skate. Should mention And again, we talked about it, the fact that most of the big nuts, or some of them, will be getting into the action tonight. The lineup is reported from Tony Brar earlier in the morning. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Trent Frederick. I think everyone knew that is what was going to happen. There are a few players that are going to play back-to-back. We've got Curtis Lazar centering Matthias Janmark and Quinn Hudson, who scored a goal last night in Winnipeg. Mangiapane, Tomaszek, and Ruby Yarvente on the line. James Hamlin, Szymanski, and Connor Clattenburg on the fourth line. Matthias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, Lappinen, and Regula. So Regula is going to be in action. Millman and Akey will be the third pair defenseman. And Stu Skinner will start. Not sure if he will play the entire game. Maybe he will. And Sam Johnson will be the backup, who has seen action already. So maybe this is a case where, and if you look at the schedule, maybe this is a case where Stu Skinner plays the entirety of the game. It wouldn't be crazy to say that just when you look at how the games shape up the rest of the way. You would think that Stu's going to see one of the games coming up this weekend when Winnipeg visits on Friday, and then Vancouver is here on Sunday. And then after that, I mean, the Oilers they're on the road. And after that, they're filling the place up with dirt, baby, because October is right around the corner, and that means Canadian Finals Rodeo is taking over Rogers Place for the beginning of October. And that's why for that week, the Oilers next week will be going into Seattle and then into Vancouver on next Friday to close out the preseason. And Canadian Finals Rodeo takes over Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They rip things out. They get all of the trucks and get the dirt the hell out of there, ready to go for Monday, Tuesday. And the Oilers will be skating in there. They'll be skating probably at the downtown community arena, I would imagine, on the Monday 7th. It should be ready to go. And then the home opener on Wednesday, the 8th. Years ago, when the Canadian Finals Rodeo was at Rexall Place, and it was a longer time when the Oilers were away, I guess you could say, it seemed it was harder to get everything in and get everything out. I mean, you think about it. And it was in November. This is way different. Man, back when the Canadian Finals Rodeo was at Rexall, it was always right around Remembrance Day. This is like technically 5-6 weeks earlier. It was a tougher event to put on because just even livestock that was outside, if you remember, would be on, let me just see, the south side of Rexall would have been some of the livestock. Then there would have been some in that parking lot on the north east side of the parking lot as well, where that parking lot would be. That was where a lot of the livestock was housed, and you know, they had to have a place for them overnight, things like that, for the course of the week or whatever. And then they would bring them in down that little sort of the ramp way and bring them in, so be it. And then they had pens and everything in there. Like the pens really were almost, I would say the pens back in the day were 30 yards away from the visiting dressing room back at Rexall. That's how it worked. And man, I just love the smell in there. Duke, you would have loved it in there. That would have been a glory event for you to cover back at Rexall. Rogers is different.
So I think I've said this on the show before. Yeah. It's over the past couple of years, we've talked about it being, of course, the CFR and Red Deer for the past number of falls. Yeah. When it was still at Rexall, my fraternity, we would basically as kind of a charity thing, work for Northlands, as temporary laborers, and set everything up for CFR. We would bring the dirt and bring the steel and set up the chutes, all this, and all across the entire grounds, not just actually in Rexall, but of course the back pens and all that stuff. And I loved it. It was a lot of fun. You're working midnight to 6 a.m. was a shift. And then we got paid just as employees of Rexall. And then we would donate that money, what we'd earned for it, to whatever charity we were in on that year. So it was really cool experience to be down there, on ice level. I say that in quotes because it's just cement, setting it all up and looking up into the stands and the banners and stuff. Pretty cool to be down at that level of the stadium.
So the other thing that I was getting at before I went off on a dumb tangent, but they used to ask some media, some other people to come skate, say, when they put the ice back in.
Oh, work it in a little.
They wanted, chop her up, then they'll flood.
Yeah.
You'd skate for an hour. And, again, this is 25, 30 years ago.
Think they're going to ask you to do that at Rogers?
No. There'll be no chopping.
Let's get the quick card media team down there.
Yeah.
Reassemble the squad.
What would happen, Duke, is we would just watch from the bench as Laddie and Dinger started the
Out
2-on-2,
there and ripped it up.
the 2-on-2 format for overtime.
Yeah.
Text 833-401-1440. Husk says, KK, the longest intro ever to get to the meat of that song. Titan says, you have to hit November Rain in the solo part. Come on, man. Well, we're supposed to kind of get out of an intro song like in 30 seconds here. Those are technically the rules for CRTC. Sometimes we let them go a little bit longer than what we're supposed to, but that's the way she goes. Playbook Vic says it's going to be Europe 19, USA 18. Oh my. I just think the home crowd, I think you get intimidated no matter if you're a pro, Playbook Vic, and you're a pro wherever you're playing, I just think maybe intimidated is the wrong word. You can feel uncomfortable. And this happens a lot when the Europeans come here, and it happens over there when the Americans go over there. You can feel uncomfortable. MTR says, no about the trade. Trade. Bengals need to tank so they can give Hendrickson to the Niners at the deadline. No, MTR. And MTR says, it's all love, big guy. Then he said, are you threatening me? Just like you being a part of the show, MTR. Again, lineups for the Oilers tonight. Draisaitl, McDavid, Frederick, Janmark, Lazar, Hudson, Mangiapane, Tomashik, Jorventi. And a lot of people are wondering how to say, some people are saying Tomasek, whatever. This is right from Ladislav Schmid. He says, I asked him, how do you pronounce David's name? And he said, Tomashik. So it is David Tomashik. Just like you think about it, it's Dominic Hasek. So think about that. It's Tomashik, Hasek, just like that. Hamblin, Szymanski, Clattenburg. I think Oiler fans are itching to see what Clattenburg does. We mentioned James Hamlin, and I'll be honest, total transparency. I'm a big fan of James Hamlin. His dad, Tim, talked to James at the Golden Bears game a couple weeks ago. And you think about 2 years ago when Chris Knobloch came here, there were injury problems. James Hamlin was fully healthy, wasn't healthy at all last year. There was a relationship that was starting to forge between Hamlin and Knobloch and the coaching staff. I'm not saying James Hamlin's going to be up here for any amount of time, but when healthy, he has the trust of the coaching staff and Chris Knobloch in particular. I'm not saying again, he's again way down the depth chart, but you know what you're getting with him. He's not going to be lax defensively. He's not going to be a detriment to you defensively. If there are injuries and if there's something that needs where there's a hole to be plugged or filled, we saw 2 years ago. He can do the job for a short period of time or whatever. He's able to fill that void. Again, Hamlin, Szymanski, Clattenburg. We got Ekholm, Bouchard on the back end, Lappinen, Regula, Millman, and Akey. Skinner to start, backed up by Samuel Janssen. Text 83401-1440. Cal, I'm not sure what your text means, but will it be on TV, tonight's game? Will it be on TV? Well, I would imagine you've got to get the old Oilers Plus again, if you've got that. That's probably what you need, Cal, to see the game tonight on television. Oilers Plus is what you need. Last night was on TSN, but you need that full package. It was blacked out if you tried to look at it on TSN here. Same thing for Friday's game. That is TSN 3 again, I think. So that's a home game, would be blacked out. You need Oilers Plus. On Sunday night, the Oilers play Vancouver for a 6 o'clock start. That game is on Sportsnet. So that'll be the first game that will be broadcast on Sportsnet. Darcy says, good morning, Kevin. Can you tell me, I never heard if the Oilers have any PTOs this year? Nope, they never did have any. From the Anchorton boys, KK, me and my coworker are debating who to cheer for as we are closer to the States, but I feel we should cheer for Europe. Who are you cheering for? Well, I'm just cheering for great golf. Anchorton boys. No, I'll probably be cheering for Europe, only because at some point, I think a lot of people are going to be like this. At some point, you're going to get so sick of USA, 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 the chanting and all that, and it could be on Friday morning when you get sick of it. So I'm going to say Europe. That's where I'm going to go with. Well, Duke, did we miss anything today? I know you've been sort of hopping back and forth with Sam, the record man, and
yeah, just trying to get Sam a few more reps on the board here. He's been cutting his teeth a little bit in the middle of the day on the frenzy and the lowdown. So I'm gonna give him a little introduction to the big time. You're in the primo slot.
What does that mean, the big time?
Well, you're the big time. You're Kevin Karius, local celebrity, big time media member, big J journalist, all those things. So now he gets the honor of sharing the airwaves with you.
Oh.
Pretty big deal for him, I think.
Is that right, eh?
Hands are shaking a little.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Just shaking, whatever. Well, good job to you guys today. Even you too, Josh. I'm very impressed with you today. Like, just unbelievable. I think we got to get a mic on you sometimes a little bit more. So, I don't know. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
the former Rochette T-Bird.
Connor Halley. Good job there. Good job, Sammy. And the Duke of Delburne at 12 o'clock. We got the lowdown with Alan Mitchell. 2 o'clock till 6, Jason Greger drives us home with the Jason Greger Show. We got Fox Sports all night long until we're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock with our co-host, Ladislav Schmid. Even Compro says, hey, Greger asked Tomasic, and he told Greger it was Tomasic. I can just tell you what Laddie told me, and I believe there would be like the Anglo pronunciation towards the European pronunciation. I'm sure if you asked him, he'd be fine with both. So we'll be back with you tomorrow morning at the 7 bells. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Harley Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail, locally owned and operated by the Kent family and celebrating 45 great years. Harley Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Check them out, hdedmonton.com. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for all the texts, for all the great words that you sent in on the text line. We will be back with you tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you back in the morning. Until then, here is Sam the Record Man.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers preseason continuing tonight against the Kraken, 7 p.m. at Rogers Place. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard are some of the regulars in tonight's lineup. Other NHL action on tonight as the Panthers head to Carolina to face off against the Hurricanes. The Blue Jackets hosting the Penguins in Columbus. And the Flames take on the Canucks in Vancouver. The Blue Jays look to hold on to their division lead tonight, taking on the Red Sox with Max Scherzer on the mound at 5:07. Elsewhere in the majors, the Yankees continuing their series against the White Sox. The Guardians take on Detroit in a match for the lead in the AL Central. And the Mariners host the Rockies. In the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they have announced their 2026 nominees with Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald headlining the group as first-time eligible players. Other notable players in the first year of eligibility include Frank Gore, Jada McCoy, and Phil Rivers. Coming up, it's the Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas, and this has been Sam Wilness with your Sports 1440 update.
Sports